Hey, welcome back to Métropole Grid. My name is Andre. Thanks so much for tuning in. It's the 13th of February, 2025. It's a Thursday evening. We're here in the middle of a snowstorm in Montreal. We got over a foot of snow today. We call them centimeters. And then I think it's going to be snowing till Sunday, where we're meant to get like 50 more centimeters of snow. It's wild out there, y'all. Got to do a lot of shoveling, move that big old white fluffy stuff around. Everyone's favorite pastime. It's quite nice out. We're meant to go skating on Sunday. There's a chance that it's just too winter to go skating. Canadian lifestyle. How's everyone doing? Good day to be inside. Zen, how's it going? How was the stream yesterday? I only watched a bit of it. I could not watch live. I watched a bit of the VOD. I've talked to Patrick about all the text on Masterwork. There's a lot of text on that card. And as an As fan, you just think maybe you know all the text on the card. Oh, shit. How's it going? Catching the start. Jaro, welcome. Welcome to the beginning of the stream. Metro Snow Grid. It's nice. Like I don't know what weather guy am I. Am I a summer guy? Am I a winter guy? At the end of the day, I usually like staying indoors, so it doesn't really matter. But it is what it is. I wonder if that title means due for Arissana. I can't wait to fall asleep to some grid. Folks' favorite content to lose consciousness to. I'll put on an old Metropole Grid and then just opt out of being awake. I hear you though. It sounds like a diss, but I know it's not. I fall asleep to content that I like a lot. David, I can't wait. Me too. I have the same problem. I just put the stream on, and then 10 minutes later, I'm at home. I drove the whole thing home. I don't remember it. It's just that damn stream. I quit my job today to stay up late and watch the Metropole Grid. I don't know how much of that is true, Lucille. I hope whatever part of that is true that you want to be true. Maybe you quit your job. If that is, I hope that's good. Usually quit is a good term. How you doing? Hey, Zayder Whistling. Hey, what's up? How you doing? Welcome to the stream. Jolman as well. I think multi-stream chat is broken. No, it's good. There's just like very few people watching on Twitch modernly. You say that because you don't see Twitch, but like shout out to the Twitch viewers. There's like 6 people watching on Twitch, so it just is what it is. I think it is working. There's like no way of knowing. That guy's name Laura, welcome. Laura, did you ask the question about Arkham Horror in the last thing that I'll respond to tonight, or is that a different Laura? Went well, your script was extremely useful. I just need to settle on a button layout, so I stopped misclicking based on the previous week's muscle memory. Yeah, I saw the cards are coming in and out. That seems like it's going way faster, which is quite nice. I'm glad that it's working. Yeah, I did it. The 2-card script thing. If you want to see a 2-card version, I can give you a 2-card version, but I think your version is way better. Even you can just like copy that as many times as you want. You know how it works. I know I feel like a backhanded compliment, but it's just 2 a.m. here. It's okay. I make internet content. I get the term a lot of times second monitor content. That's good. That's a compliment, I think. Hey, Gold Lava, how's it going? How's your Thursday night? I got the email for the district championship kit, so we'll have it soon, which means we'll get a date down soon. Cold Lava, Ari, who is organizing an event in your area? Because I need to make sure I'm organizing it on a different time and a different date. I know I had that ping on Discord from like the Northeast organizers. I just need to double check before we get something down because I have the kit coming in soon. I don't know if you have a time or date yet. YouTube is just more user-friendly on every front. It's way better. Oh, Cold Lava is in Twitch. Nice. April 12th. Okay, good to know. I'll work around that to have whatever extent I can. Thanks again for the help with Thunderbolt, you and Not Again. Yeah, we have a thread in our Discord making a Thunderbolt deck work, and like, I'm only slightly a doomer. I'm kind of a doomer. I'll be honest, I've enjoyed Thunderbolt more than I've thought I would. And like, I don't like the text on it. And I think the answer is play Stegadon, which like, oh boy, oh, fun for everyone. So that's not great, but there's some interesting things you can do. I just feel like every time that there's you come up with a deck, or like we decide on a deck idea, or like, I'm trying to deflect from saying you do something I don't like it, because that's not the point. Is that when there's a Thunderbolt deck that's presented, my answer is this would just straight be better in any of the other HB identities. I feel like we're not swinging into it enough, and the problem is it's hard to swing into it enough. Making your ice valuable is not the best thing to do in the meta right now. So I think it's like Stegadon or bust. As much as like Brasilia is really cool and interesting, it just kind of, it is what it is. Milanomi, how's it going? Welcome to Fun Employment. It's cozy here for as long as it holds. For as long as it holds. I did quit my job just so I don't have to go in tomorrow and watch this tonight. No other reason. Well, shit. That seems like it might have some sort of ramifications on the rest of your life, but I really respect the hustle to get in for the stream. Hey, PMK, I'm having a good day. Are you too? It's me, been getting into Arkham in the meantime before elevation. Okay, so I did a tier list, and Maddie did the tier list too. I'll do it really quickly so I can show you. We have another tangent that's not Netrunner in a second that I've been holding off on. It's great. Arkham Horror Campaign tier list. So the question was asked, what is my tier list for Arkham Horror campaigns? And somebody made this tier list. It has just like 5 different tiers with no explanation. And there is this many Arkham campaigns. And so my current personal tier list, let's go into presentation mode, looks like this. And I can explain quickly why it is, and you can all disagree in the comments. Core set, it's not very good. It's actually a pretty bad core set, all things said. It's just not a good campaign. It's only 3 scenarios. Mind you, all the other campaigns are like 6 to 8 scenarios. It's meant to teach you what the game is, and the first 2 scenarios are very good, but the 3rd scenario is so unbelievably bad that it kind of sours the whole box. So C tier is great. Dunwich, it's an important campaign. It was the first campaign they put out. Mind you, I'm going to be talking about Return to campaigns as well, so they fix a bunch of the mechanics. I think Dunwich Return to is like a solid, just mid-tier campaign. It's not bad. It has some memorable moments. It'll bounce between B and A for sure. Carcosa is the GOAT. Carcosa is just very good. One of their, I think, 2nd or 3rd campaign they put out, and it was the first campaign to like really change your expectations and do weird and wacky stuff. Like the 2nd scenario, you were just at a house party, just having a good time. Like it's just really, really cool. It focuses on unreliable narrator stuff and hidden treacheries, and the less I say, the better it is. Carcosa is really, really good. Best though of all time is Forgotten Age. Just the best. Everyone hated this campaign when it came out because it was so damn difficult, and it just did trauma to you for no reason. Trauma is a thing in the game. Mind you, Return to is the way that I would play Forgotten Age, and it's mostly because it changes one of the fundamental mechanics called Explore and makes Explore so much better. I don't know if this would be S tier without Return to. I still really like Forgotten Age, but Return to Forgotten Age, which you don't need the box to fix the Explore mechanic. I can explain how that works. Just one of my favorite campaigns. Circle and Done. Ooh, probably high B. I think this campaign is really incredibly difficult. It is notably more difficult than all the other campaigns, and so I struggle to play casual decks and get the best ending. It has some really good scenarios. I think the prologue is a bit annoying because you have to replay it. Technically, Return to has fixed that, but I feel like it's really stifling, and there's certain our investigators have no chance in Circle and Done. But I think Circle and Done is actually notable for having some of the most narrative exploration, where there's actually like 3 to 4 different endings that are all worth exploring. And so for that reason, Circle and Done is really cool. It would probably be the highest of B. Dream Eaters, it's a shame. It's a weird structure because technically you have to build 2 decks because it's like 2 campaigns of 4. And that's just really difficult when I play here with like Maddie, and then we have to build like 4 decks out of one like collection. That's really, really difficult. I do think Dream Eaters has some really, really cool scenarios, so it's a shame that it is this low, but the execution doesn't land for me. Innsmouth is great. I really like Innsmouth. It's just really good, exciting. The one downside is spending experience is really rough. Edge of the Earth, I like a lot. This is my partner's favorite campaign. I should play it a bit more. It does narrative in a really nice way, I think. I really like the narrative beats, and has a lot of these extra like metagame mechanics with like frost tokens and supplies and stuff like that. Scarlet Keys is just the worst. And then Hemlock Vale, I think it's going to have some recency bias, but it's probably up here. Probably here for now. I need to play it a couple more times. I played it like 3 or 4 times, but it's the campaign that I've last completed. And Hemlock Vale is really, really cool. It's a great vibe. The night scenarios are some of my favorite scenarios in the entire game, but it is pretty good. So overall, a lot of the newer stuff actually lines up quite to the top. So like there's some vintage stuff, but then like Hemlock, Innsmouth, and Edge of the Earth are all the newer campaigns, barring Scarlet Keys, which I really do not like Scarlet Keys. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk. If you have any questions, I'll catch up on chat. This is my tier list. I think Maddie's is slightly different. I think she has this up here. She likes Circle, but it's really difficult. It slides around a bit, but this is where I stand. And I share this with my Arkham group, and they're like very much similar. I think there's going to only be minor changes. Supernaut, good evening. Supernaut, I think you shared something with me on Discord and I forgot to open it and share it. I'll do it next week. Apologies for that. Hot District Champs in your area. Hey, Diogen, please stop cooking disturbing decks. You will make all Montreal locals play Thunderbolt and we're gonna suffer. And so on, how's it going? The problem is like that Thunderbolt deck is probably not a one that I want to bring to like a Tuesday and have fun, because it's like, it's a Stegodon deck and it's not great. Can't swing into bad ID text. Sorry, Supernut. Thunderbolt? Oh, I see what you mean. Thunderbolt feels like it should be permanent. If Thunderbolt, they should allow you to have Formicary as long as you only play 1x Skunkworks. I don't think you want to have Formicary. Oh yeah, well you mentioned Skunkworks. Yeah, it's hard. I'm glad to contribute to destroying the Montreal meta. Daria, how's it going? What happens when the runner doesn't face check until they have money and breakers? Hopefully you score out a Stegodon and then you win. I honestly don't know, which means maybe you have to play things that require them to interact fast. Like the sort of working prototype is kind of an interact or die card, MC austerity, stuff like that. I could see it, but I agree. I feel like unless you're seamless launching out really quick agendas, they can just sit back and do nothing. It's hard to say. I'm the most dedicated Netrunner content consumer. I'm every stream, can't do that, hold down a job. Not when they're all in US time zones and I'm in the UK. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Didn't expect this content, so glad to be live. Welcome. Devour Below is so bad. That is the final scenario in this campaign. It's not good. It's not very good. Is it funny that the final boss is nearly unbeatable in the core campaign? I think it teaches you something. This is a mild spoiler, but like the final boss in the core set is nearly unkillable. It's the sort of thing that you might have joy with a bigger card pool or a perfectly tuned deck that you can come back and defeat it. But it's kind of meant to teach you that there's endings to all these stories, and sometimes they're not the best ending. It is a Lovecraft work, barring the racism. So it isn't a thing to learn, but it's not satisfying for most people, I don't think. My wife and I beat the final boss in the core set campaign on my third attempt. It was brutal. It's really brutal, and I don't think it's paced well either. There's a lot of issues with it. Dunwich is carried hard by Essex County Express. I think Essex County Express is huge for Dunwich. On top of that, I do think the Blood on the Altar is one of my favorite like narrative beats, like mechanical narrative beats. Museum is really cool if it is cool. Sometimes it can be boring. I do think the first two scenarios are fine. The one on the quad is okay, but the one on the speakeasy is really quite good. But the end of Dunwich, I'll admit, I don't really remember. I do think Essex County Express does a lot of heavy lifting, that's for sure. Explorer deck is different between Return to and Vanilla. In some ways, it's harder or easier depending on the scenario. Into Deep is Pog. Into Deep, I'm not very good at knowing the camp scenarios by name. I think Into Deep is the first one in Innsmouth, which is a pretty good opening scenario. What was Scarlet Keys' crime? It's a long story and a long YouTube essay, but Scarlet Keys was the first open world Arkham game, which is meant to be about this like globe-trotting adventure where you're part of or working with or alongside or against a massive secret organization, the agency that has, you know, branches all over the planet, and they're like making sure that aliens don't take over the world or something along those lines. And so it is the first campaign that is not linear, strictly linear, because Hemlock is also not linear, but in a much more, I think, manageable way. And when the game starts, after the first opening scenario, they put you on the map and they say you're in London. And then they give you this physical map and say that you can travel across any of these available routes, like a game of Ticket to Ride, except it takes time to travel to places. And then they say, go figure it out. And then ideally, by the time you hit time 30 or whatever the thing is, the finale can show up around there. And you basically pick your own route. The problem for me, to keep it really short, is that a lot of the places you go are just reading, and it's very easy to find yourself in a situation where you read for about 2.5 hours straight and you don't play any Arkham. That's not great because they can't control where you're going to go. And if you just mess it up, you mess it up. I think my biggest issue with it is like promising open world and choices mattering. It's a really alluring promise, but it is the one campaign out of all of Arkham in which your choices actually matter the least. It is incredibly frustrating. When you go to a new location, it only always asks you how much time has been spent so far. It almost never asks you, have you gone to this place first? Have you talked to this person? Have you made this decision? It's only time. And that's because it's really hard to make a campaign where all your decisions actually matter in this Arkham box. It's just like an absurd amount of work, and it did not come through. So it promises you what seems to be the world, and it just delivers like, oh, in what order do you want to do things? And maybe you shouldn't go here because too much time has passed and it's going to be really difficult. So the scenarios are interesting, some really genuinely good scenarios, and I'm kind of waiting for somebody in the community to stitch together the scenarios in a linear way that is just like a fun campaign without me having to faff around with the map and reading all these interludes and all this kind of nonsense. It's just a bit disappointing. Notably too, it has a mechanic called Shroud, I think, or something like that, where there's like these cards that are hidden and you have to spend an action revealing them. And the problem is, majority of the time when you reveal a card, it's an illusion and it's nothing there. And so you get into a lot of scenarios where it's just so random. Like in the intro scenario, if you have 4 players, I think it puts down 6 illusions and it takes an action to flip an illusion over, whatever they're called. You can get it in the first one, and then it just shaves like 3 turns off the game. You can just get it at the 1 in 6. It's like so overtly random. And the action of like revealing one of these illusions, they're not called that. They're called something more on theme. And it's just being nothing. It's just a waste of an action. It just feels so bad. It is the base mechanic in this box is not fun, if you ask me, where you're just like, oh, I'll do a test. I reveal to flip the card. Oh, it says it's nothing. I'll do it again. Oh, I reveal the card. Oh, it's nothing. Like spending most of your turn doing functionally nothing is not fun. I don't like it at all. I only completed the next year's article in the meantime. Oh, very cool. Very cool. It needs to be in the Omega bin tier. Oh, excuse me. I only have a core in Dunwich, not return. I was planning on just going through in order. Should I skip ahead? Well, so they're talking about like putting things out of print. So if you can get some of the old ones, like Forgotten Age and Carcosa are worth doing. If you can play them in order, I would recommend it because I like the sort of historical value of an LCG and seeing like how the game developed and what the designers thought and what they learned over time. I don't think you have to, but I would say like if you look at my tier list, these are the ones that I think are worth getting. I do not know or care about what cards, like this is only the campaign, not the investigator cards. I couldn't tell you. That's probably a different tier list, but I'm not very good at being like, oh, this is an investigator or this is a card I like and it came from Innsmouth. I just don't do that pairing really well. My group got absolutely crushed by Innsmouth. I'm starting to wonder if the more recent campaigns are balanced more around replays than blind plays. But there's also a problem they're running into that some of the later campaigns I think are more difficult than the earlier campaigns, but they are built around people having a bigger card pool. I do think there's a bunch of campaigns or a bunch of scenarios in like Edge of the Earth and Innsmouth and specifically also like Circle and Dun to some extent. Scarlet Keys even the most, where if you know what's happening, you can build a deck that beats those campaigns or those scenarios. It's something that repeat plays it does favor, and I think repeat plays of Arkham are actually kind of sick. Excuse me. Stegonon ended being the best for T-Bolt. Oh, what a horrible sentence. Just like Arkham 3rd edition? Ron, I don't know what that means. I have only played, I think, one game of 3rd edition. If you cheat a little bit and know the optimal pathing for Scarlet Keys, it isn't that bad, but yeah, the whole travel system is clunky. Yeah, it's not fun. You can always homebrew the racism. Jesus, Eris. Hemlock S tier. Hemlock seems to be really, really good. I've enjoyed Hemlock so far. I feel like my criticism with Hemlock is that the interludes in the mornings are going to be repetitive, and I wish I just could skip them somehow because they are repetitive. And I feel like the difficulty spikes between the day and the night scenarios. I just wish the day scenarios were slightly harder because the day scenarios, some of them are a bit too sleepy, and it's meant to be like that. They're meant to be like, oh, you go on a little expedition and then at night's a nightmare. And I feel like I'd rather have the nightmare or something closer to the nightmare. Hey D, have you done any of the customs? I've done Circus Ex Mortis a ton and it's excellent. TFAS tier is great. I'm currently doing Dark Matter, which one of my friends got it professionally printed, and Dark Matter, we're like 3 scenarios in. It's really cool. I have to like explain the whole scan mechanic, which is like a very cool mechanic they added. But Dark Matter is a homebrew campaign, like a community content. And so far I've really enjoyed it, but I'm not even halfway through. But I'm like very excited for every Monday to play some more Arkham. I love the open world. I hate the fog. Into Deep is the Escape the City scenario, the 3rd one. Oh yeah, with the like the barriers maze. I think that's a very good, cool scenario as well. I feel like I see much more varied opinions on Circle and Dun, TDE and TIC. Some people say they're too fiddly. Circle and Dun is a bit fiddly. Return to lets you skip the prologue and stuff like that, which is nice. TDE, what is TDE? I'm not very good at acronyms. What is TDE? I have no idea what TD is. TIC? Laura, you're losing me. I don't know what these mean. The Innsmouth Conspiracy? Innsmouth Conspiracy is fiddly. Like, it is just one of the later campaigns, and there's a lot going on. There's like keys and flood tokens, and there's certain interludes where you can't spend experience, and you can, and it's a flashback, and it's non-linear storytelling. There's a scenario where it's all a car chase, which is really cool. Everyone has to like pilot vehicles. There's vehicles in that campaign, and then like the board changes, kind of like an auto scroller. It's sick. It's genuinely sick, but you have to grok new mechanics relatively quickly, which is cool. If TSK drops the open world, what tier would it be? Like, I found a lot of the scenarios also very boring. I found a lot of scenarios to be incredibly boring too. Some of them were just repetitive. Some of them were like very little is happening. I want to play a lot of them standalone. Like Alaska was a cool vibe. The one that happens in South America, it was like an interesting structure, but what you're doing on turn 1 is the same thing you're doing on turn 15, and that's not that fun. The one in, is it Morocco or Egypt? And I think in Morocco, that one was like incredibly difficult, but had cool choices. Like none of the scenarios, I think the one in Cuba was just coin flip .deck. Like it was so, nothing happened, just nothing burger. Like this is one of the biggest issues with Scarlet Keys is that it's about globe trotting. It's about going to different locations in 1924 to 1926 and exploring them. And we went to Havana, Cuba, and there was a cool character there that we interact with and the mob and all that sort of stuff. I cannot name one location. And that's a really big issue. For exploring the world, Havana felt no different than any other like circle of 7 locations in Arkham. And that's a hard thing to do. But like we went to Paris and it felt like Paris. We went to the catacombs. We went to like Montmartre. And I remember those as places. But Havana was just 7 locations. I know none of the names of them. They were in a circle. And I think that's such a weird thing. Alaska felt like Alaska because there was actually like the mining town and then the wilderness. And the wilderness got scary fast. And then you had to worry about hazards in the winter and stuff like that. But a lot of the locations in Scarlet Keys just felt like 7 pieces of cardboard on the table. And I think that's a hard thing to fix, and I don't know how. That's Shades of Suffering, I think, in Morocco, right? The reading was fine for me, to be honest, but it didn't track any of my choices. Yeah, exactly. A lot of it doesn't matter. My understanding is that this is what Earthbound Rangers does. Earthbound Rangers cares about your decisions in an open world in a very, very, very big way. But that game is more about like doing quests and side quests more than it is like hunting. Well, no, that's not true. Yeah, I think Earthbound Rangers kind of does what Scarlet Keys wants to do. Let's say that. I think that's true. I like the open world fine, but I really didn't like a lot of the scenarios in TSK. Yeah, I think I didn't like either. I'm not sure. The thing with Earthborn is that you can often power through time if you want or need. What do you mean, Daria? Yeah, Earthbound Rangers does this really good thing where you show up to a location and then the cards kind of unravel in front of you. Some of them are like flora and fauna. Some of them are like things, objects, nature, and the way that they interact with each other, that's the thing they have to worry about. It's like, oh, there's a boar here, and so if I pull this kind of card, the boar will attack, which will hurt my friend will run away, I'll lose the day, the bees will come out. Like it's cool. It makes this sort of emergent gameplay, and you don't get that in Scarlet Keys, but Scarlet Keys is not really about it. Shroud sucks. It makes the game way more of an action economy puzzle. That is the term. It's Shroud. Shroud does suck. It's miserable. Remind me when I got a perfect first 3 out of 3 on Carnival. Ooh, Carnival's good though. Carnival's really fun. Hey, Pat. Hey, Kat. How's it going? Is it April 1st already? No. Actually, this is a problem because we've now tangented on this. I've spent the whole day not opening the new Marvel Champions article because I wanted to do it on stream. And now half an hour in, I feel like it is just way too indulgent to go through this Arkham, this Marvel Champions article because we did this tangent, which is a good tangent. And I need to catch up on chat. But yeah, I'll watch it after. How's a solitaire this evening, Seth? How's it going? Normally you can search card games and that just hasn't been showing up in the choose your games log. So we're solitaire tonight. That's great. What about standalones? Oof, I haven't played all of them. I haven't played the last one, Midwinter Gala, as much as I own it. Oof, okay, hold on. Marvel Champions. Standalone tier list. Andre reaction vid content. Do we have one? I don't think we have one. Standalone ability? What is this? Oh, I searched Marvel Champions. Okay, that's why. I meant to Siege Arkham Horror. I had Marvel Champions on my mind. I don't think we have a tier maker. No, we do. Of course we do. Believe in the internet. There are no tier lists to show. Okay, we don't. Okay, I tried. That's a harder one. A lot of the standalones are really good. There's a bunch of standalones that I would say don't buy them unless you can play them with 8 to 12 players. Like Labyrinths of Lunacy is not worth anyone's money unless you can play it with 8 to 12 people, which means you have to buy multiple Labyrinths or Labyrinths of Lunacy. If you can do it, it's really, really good. But standalones are all over the place. Some of them are very, very good. Steven, Innsmouth and Circle and Dun are my favorites. Edge of the Earth and Dunwich are my least favorites. Why do people not like Edge of the Earth? I can get Dunwich. Dunwich is a bit like all over the place. Yeah, Murder Excelsior is really, really good. Bring Dark Matter to the cabin. It's not mine, but maybe I can try, but it's not my copy. I really like Dark Matter. I played it before Forgotten Age. Isn't Scan a lot like Explore? Am I misremembering it? It's different, Pat, because you have a deck of cards and you can like... It's basically a way to deliver locations, objects, or ideas based off of board state in a more deterministic way. Well, explorers just go through the deck. For Scan, it's like find the card with this symbol on the back. And sometimes there's many cards with that symbol on the back, but a lot of times they'll set it up so there's only one card with that symbol. And so it's just locked by a certain interaction. It's just a cool way to deliver cards with some amount of randomness or entirely set out. Oh, Dream Eaters TD, excuse me. Pull up, I'm sold. I don't know what I sold you on, Daria. Me and my group really, really enjoyed Scarlet Keys, except for the fiddliness of the Shadow mini cards. Hey, Sigbert. I know a lot of people like Scarlet Keys more than I do. I really didn't like it. The main Shroud mechanic also not being well explained in the rules really sucks. I think the final scenario, the finale, is not particularly interesting. It's very clumsy. There's a lot I don't like about Scarlet Keys. I do think Kamani's the coolest thing ever, though, which is like great. Felt very disconnected from Hemlock. It felt like it was trying to be character focused. The non-linear nature really hurt that. Oh, I don't know. Like character focused, Edge of the Earth, 100% character focused. I found Hemlock to be like a bit character focused. You cared about the characters and like you can make relationships with people in the town, and that like does matter. There are different storylines you can pursue by doing that. I feel like a lot of that stuff is hard to stumble into. You really have to like look at a guide or play the thing multiple times, and there's some value in that for sure. But yeah, I don't know. Hey, Jeff, someone's here to talk about Netrunner to distract me from editing. I'm doing. Wait a second. Jeff, I think we were building the same deck at the same time, which is really good fun. I built a deck for both Marion Tavares and I built a deck for George Burnaby. I think George is sick. I think Marian is worse than I thought she'd be, but is pretty fun. I do not know what to do with the hand slot. The one part of Innsmouth that stuck with me was when I had to abandon the boat and swim to the ending of Silas. The sailor felt very thematic. Oh, super, super cool. There's a lot of like really good setups in Innsmouth to make hard decisions, whether it's letting your friend drown, whether it's like doing something heroic to get the water out of a room, whether it's like I'll get off the boat and stay on this island, you take the boat somewhere else and we'll hope the caves connect, or I'm going to turn my car around. Like Maddie and I had this great ending in the car chase where she's like, we're not going to make it. So I'm going to get out of the car on the highway and run backwards at them. And like, it was the perfect thing to do. And she was defeated, but like I got out to the lighthouse. Like it has a lot of really good ways to that create these sort of memorable narratives. Even in the one where like Into Deep, where you're going through the city and like moving barricades, like you can do some cool stuff where it's like, oh, the mob is after us, or, you know, whatever, fish people. I'll run this way and they'll follow me. And then you go around and it's good. It's cool. It's really, really cool. Midwinter is great. Okay, I have it. I haven't played it. Still got some interesting mechanics so far. Oh, Pat, now I can't open it. Arkham Horror S tier. Arkham Horror is not worth $400. It is very cute and very funny. The campaign itself, or the scenario itself, is not good. It's okay. It's like totally okay. Like B-, that's fine. It's not offensive, but just the art and the theme is so charming. It makes it like a B+. But if you're ever worried about not owning Arkham Horror, you don't own Arkham Horror. I hate Edge because of playing the same scenario 3 times. It's really boring. Oh, don't do it. You went to the Dreamscape 3 times. I've never done that. I've only been to the Dreamscape once each time. I imagine if you Dreamscape 3 times, that's boring. Or unless you mean the first scenario 3 times, which if you don't lose anybody, that's on you. But that's a terrible thing to say. That's not going to make you like it anymore. Too indulgent. What do you think I'm here for, Netrunner? Scan is very similar to the Return to Vision of Explorer. I wouldn't say so, because you can still... No, not really. The scan deck doesn't get worse. Like, they're both a pile of cards that you look through until something matches, but it feels different because you can't get a bad thing. And then they use scan for narrative beats, like, kind of. Gator ranking next week. Did you see? I saw Eric Whiteblade posted his investigator ranking, and it's so different than what I would do. It was wild, but there's like 70 investigators. It's going to take a whole day. On that note, actually, this is a good segue to something. I built this channel today, and I'm just going to put this out there in case you want. But there's a second Métropole Grid channel. There's 2 subscribers. Both of them are me. It's called The Crash Space. And because of the studio space, and because I've just had, like, if I'm hanging around playing, I don't know, whatever, like a roguelite, I'll probably stream it every once in a while. And so this is like very low expectations. There will be an Arkham channel at some point. It's not going to be this, but if you want it, at Crash Space Grid, follow this. I will be doing board game stuff or other stuff whenever it makes sense. So this is probably a nice place where I'll end up doing tangents more than this, like this. But if you care about that, you can find it. I'll put a link in the chat. You can subscribe if you want, no pressure. But this is a thing that I spun up just today. It's all like placeholder art. It's just purple. I tried finding it and found an old stream. Yes, there's an old stream called Crash Space. I realized I'm going to have to change that name so it doesn't come up. Now you have 3 subs. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I did see that. Yeah. When I searched it. Hold on. I'm behind on chat though. Oh no. My only full playthrough of Scarlet Keys was the secret scenario. So I have no idea what the campaign is normally like. I know how you're meant to get the secret scenario in Scarlet Keys, and I did the secret scenario of Scarlet Keys, and it was kind of cool, honestly. It was kind of cool. But we didn't get the best ending because of something, some decision, some binary decision we had to make at some point in which we did not have the means to make the correct decision. Like, we just did not have the information to make the correct decision. Someone was like, do you want me to help you? Do you want to go on your own? And we're like, I don't fucking know. And it turns out we picked the wrong choice. And that was so frustrating because the run to get to the secret scenario is like nonsense. You have to beeline in a certain direction, you have to talk to the right people, then come all the way back, missing all this sort of stuff just to get the secret thing. I'm assuming there's like clues in the narrative that you can pick up that tell you that's what you're meant to do, but it is like, it feels like you're doing like a any % speed run. It doesn't feel like you're doing what the game wants you to do, if you know what I mean. I love edges lingering in the game, location over 3 scenarios. You get to feel like you're learning the area over time. It's one of the biggest scenarios too. Like the first 3, the whatever, the snow and blood or whatever it's called. If you picked one expansion to start with, what would you choose? Just release order? No, I think if you want to pick things up modernly after the core set, I would recommend Carcosa, honestly. I think Carcosa is like a really nice mixture of what you want Arkham Horror to be, with like memorable locations, memorable scenarios, cool finale. I think that's great. From then, if you want to make the game harder and you want to like that sort of cool story, I think Forgotten Age is great, as much as it is much more difficult. But I would only pick up Dunwich if you want to do it in order and see what the game looked like. But I do think Carcosa is very easily the first recommendation. I think it's not incredibly complicated. Where like Edge of the Earth, Innsmouth, Hemlock, Scarlet Keys, they all have a bunch of stuff on top of it you have to worry about. I ran a scenario and then decided I want some rogue skills to make a bit more money. Jeff, in who? In Marion or in George Barnaby? Though I still failed to return to Coast on hard. Deck isn't quite there. Ooh, someone's gaming. George and Michael McGunn are two I'm looking forward to. I feel like Michael McGunn is just like more steps to get you your Jenny Barnes. And I don't think they fixed weapons or firearms, excuse me, which is just going to be such a sticking point. It's going to be hard to get over that. I was Luke in the scenario in turn 1, barricaded, and then was really confused because nothing happened in that scenario. Oh, in the secret one? Yeah, okay. That makes sense. Catches out there snapping a snare in half. It was my first time playing. I didn't realize I would completely wreck it. Yeah, there's a chance. I think Lucas always has the chance of breaking scenarios. It's a hard thing to balance around. Hey, gone to Netrunner this year. Now I'm about to go into an LCG rabbit hole. Beep. Welcome. This is like the old FFG stuff that's still going on. And I play Marvel Champions. I play Arkham Horror. Obviously, I play a lot of Netrunner too, but welcome. Netrunner is really great. We'll be talking about Netrunner in a second, I promise. I'm just going to catch up on chat. The third Andre channel I subscribed to. Thank you, Lucille. Is Arkham Horror official content? Yeah, it is. So it started that they put out this April Fool's joke called Arkham Horror. And I think we'll find it. And they just put out this article, and they basically took old existing arts and they photoshopped cats and dogs. Cats are the villains and dogs are the heroes. And then people were like, hold on, FFG, this slaps. And then FFG was like, okay, I guess we'll make it. And so they made it. And not only does it have the campaign, it has player cards. It has new investigators that showed up, like the whole summoning circle of tennis balls. Like it is sick. It's really, really funny. It's really well done. And there's investigators that are all existing investigators in dog version that have dog abilities. You can't play these in normal constructed play. I'm not a cop, but they say you shouldn't. And then they actually ended up putting it out and giving some amount of money, it seems, to Pets for Vets. They're a proud supporter, helping veterans and pets create new beginnings together. The thing is, like, they did such a small print run of this because they didn't think it would sell, and it was kind of a confusing idea to most, I reckon. So it was a very niche product. I don't think it was ever reprinted, and there was one print run of it. Luckily, I got one because I was playing at the time, and so this is like the thing on eBay that if you're getting into Arkham Horror is like $300, $400, and I do not recommend picking it up. It's not that good. You can proxy it if you want to, but the scenario is not great. It's just like people want the cool, weird cat and dog cards. Like Cultist Cat is sick cat. That's a cool cat. The third one's Velma's Diner. The answer on what to buy first also changes the investigator versus campaign. Yeah, I'm not very good at recommending an investigator box without sitting down and thinking about it because I'm not very good at telling you which investigator came from which box. I was playing Arkham with someone who insisted we do the most difficult for his cat. Oh, good friends. He was like, this isn't so bad, and I fell into the snake pit. Arkham Horror. Hey, Kalana. I used to have a playgroup that played this, but we broke up over disagreements about Magic the Gathering game. One day I hope to play some more AH. Sorry to hear that. I know people sometimes play online if you want like groups on like TTS and stuff like that, but hopefully you can find somebody that wants to play. Sorry that your group fell out like that. Hopefully things are okay. Does shooting a gun really work against Eldritch monstrosities? Yeah. Baseball bat seems to work better in this game. Machete works better than bullet. Make that make sense. I don't know. The stat line on Jenny versus Michael makes a huge difference. It does, but like, why would I play Michael when I can play, what's the name of the bounty hunter, the rogue bounty hunter who has to pick up his son from the pool? Why raise Scarlet Keys so low? Oh, it's an open world. In short, it's an open world campaign, and I don't think it nails the open world stuff. And then the main mechanic called Shroud Mechanics is just not particularly fun, like just generally not fun, and is pretty swingy and just boring, if you ask me. It's frustrating. Hey, Jai, how's it going? Good morning. We doing Arkham tier list? We already did. Team Cat, huge anti-cat bias. I don't think them being the cultists and the villains makes it a bias. It's up to you. Hashtag Team Cat over here. Nana's sleeping on the Poang next to me. Gensling, how's it going? Schizo drool. Cutting off a tentacle, shooting a tentacle? Well, it depends how big the bullet is, doesn't it? All right, okay, listen up. I won't open the silk thing unless maybe the end of the stream, but I won't open it. I'll do it on my own time. It's fine. We are contangented. Again, I will plug the Crash Space if you want to come and hang out, and we'll do some other non-Netrunner stuff at any time with no scheduling. It'll just be a surprise space if you want to jump in. Again, it's at Crash Space Grid. You can find it on YouTube. I'm playing through Dead Space right now, and the plasma cutter's doing well against these Eldritch Horrors. Yeah, it's mining equipment though. I'm into that. 40 minutes in? Yeah, whatever. Whatever, 41. My favorite part of watching old VODs of yours are the tangents and the lore. I'm excited for the second channel. Yeah, that's like, I don't know. I like hanging out and talking about stuff. Netrunner's great. Don't get me wrong. And I feel bad when we don't Netrunner on the Netrunner channel. So like, we got to rectify a bunch of this stuff sometimes. Silk is a really cool superhero in Marvel Champions or in general, because I don't know much about her in general, besides that she is Cindy Moon, and her, like, often her like web stuff is more organic than like sometimes Peter Parker's stuff is mechanical or like scientific. Thanks so much for the tangent. Super helpful. Laura, don't hesitate to ask any other questions if you have them. And good luck on the beginning of your journey. If you get to the end of the core set and it doesn't go your way, that is fine. I think they also made Lita Chandler easier to find. For those who know, they know. Speaking of which, the Doctor Doom Takeover the World comic event kicked off this week. I don't know who that is, Jai. Takes over the comic world? Doctor Doom always taking over the world. That's kind of his thing. All right, this is Seb K's list from the CBI, came third. This is really cool because it's kind of an old school Ari list, as much as Ari's only been around for, it feels like, a year and a half. So Arissana, as you know, Shaper, installs things during runs. I have played Ari when Ari came out and really enjoyed it, and Arissana kind of felt more like a criminal. And that's because Arissana could make money and leverage pressure on servers. Because we have this really cool card that's unfortunately rotating out called Kyuban. Kyuban installs on a piece of ice, and if the corp doesn't res it, you gain 2 credits. Which means, and very often Arissana was just such a blowout when people were new, or when Arissana was new in the meta, where they would not play around this, because this is the issue. If you ever go down too low on credits, Arissana can just put a Kyuban, heaven forbid 2 Cubans on a piece of ice, and just run through it, and basically make that magnum opus, click for 2 credits, click for 4 credits, whatever it is, heaven forbid a peach of chance, so you're doing it clicklessly, and basically you get them to situations where they overextend and you can punish them. This is such a cool card that a criminal wishes they had. They have Penny Shaver and Bankroll, which is honestly not as good as this on some board states, let alone we can reposition it and install it clicklessly, and we move it around with Urban Art Vernissage. Very, very powerful. And this sort of deck, I think the last time we saw something like this do competitively well was maybe top 16 extra C played at Worlds 2023 in Barcelona. And now we're kind of back to this. And obviously Arissana won Worlds, but that was a kind of different looking list. Yeah, I'd say fundamentally a fair bit different with this sort of like engine package, lily pad, you know, urban art, environmental testing, and this sort of stuff is old school cool. Now this list has diversion of funds, which is huge. And I think Sebk shouts on the write-up, like, don't send the wolf in, like, kind of keep us in mind. If you have doof, it doesn't mean you have to send doof, because the idea is that if the opponent overextends and you can doof them down to really low credits, that's where like the nightmare scenario happens, where you get the conduit down and then they can't res the ice on R&D. So every conduit run is clickless and you're getting more and more tokens, or you're getting that Cuban to fire. And that's where the game really, really turns. This is in some ways also really frustrating, I think, if you're playing closed deck lists, because you're not going to play around diversion of funds, let alone it's hard to play around diversion of funds against Arissana, because Arissana can just produce whatever breaker at instant speed. You run HQ, this deck doesn't have muses, which makes it also a bit more old school, but then they can drop no slap metal, but like an Ika or whatever breaker they need from hand, and they're through. And then the diversion of funds will always connect. Imagining icing HQ turn 1 against Arissana, this being the deck list of the week, I imagine people are doing that this week on JNet Casual. And this is the sort of thing, and even in open deck lists, I'm saying it's powerful, but against like closed deck lists, this is just going to blow out games. I don't think there's any way around that. So that's pretty interesting. For some reason, he's the Sorcerer Supreme now. Doctor Strange really fucked that one up. So that's cool. I don't read a lot of comics for what it's worth. Most of my comic exposure is like old, what are they called? Not codexes, but compendiums and almanacs and collections of old comics runs. I've been unironically playing a flux capacitor deck that occasionally puts charge on a coalescence that builds your own Cuban. Yeah, it's a shame the flux sees no play, and I do think like charge is its own problem. It's not very powerful, it seems, and flux will be powerful one day, I have no doubt. But flux is just such a cool card that you want it to work. I don't know whether you're charging your environmental testing. I've seen people charge twinnings. Kurapira is a bit clumsy, but it's just so hard because charge needs a counter. So you can't just like step 1 flux and get your Amelia up. You have to work on it, which is a bit annoying. They call them trades, those collections of comics. No, there's another word for it. There's definitely another word for it. Charging endurance is pretty good. I don't even know if people did that. I guess they did. What's the word I'm thinking of? It's not that that's not the right word, David. I know I have a book that has that name on it, and it's like a really fun technical word that only shows up sometimes in this context. Whatever. We don't need to know all the words all the time. Omnibus. Yeah, that's the good one. Rylan, thank you. Omnibus. That's the word. Good word. I don't know how else to use it. I've only been playing Eternal and Netrunner, so standard feels so far for me right now. Oh yeah, I'm gonna plug this again, but this weekend is the Eternal Super League Week 2. I'll be streaming it on this channel at Eternal Super League. They had like up to, I think, peak 50 viewership last Sunday, so it's a huge party, which is great. So starting at 2 p.m. Eastern, we'll be going online and reviewing this week's Eternal Super League games, and we'll have like the card pop up and we'll be explaining everything. But that'll be about 2.5-3 hours of a stream this Sunday starting at 2 Eastern Standard. So I'm in Montreal when it's 2 in Montreal. That's this weekend. I'm excited to be part of it. Eternal Super League. Shout out for the amazing write-up. It's a good write-up. It is quite a good write-up. This archetype got a lot worse with the RWR release because, not because the cards got worse, but because people learned to preemptively ice HQ anyways versus Shaper because of Burner. You say that, Jai, but like how many competitive decks were actually playing Burner? I think that answer is very few to none. Like how many Burners were at Worlds last year in the top cut? I think countable. I think it was like 11 out of the top 16 decks were on like Deep Dive and Trick Shot, but Burner, like none of the lab players were playing Burner for some reason. Arissana defo played Burner. I think Arissana did play Burner. Like Arizon played Burner, but there also wasn't that much Arissana at Worlds. Like Lat was the Shaper and Lat wasn't playing Burner at Worlds. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but like Burner, for as cracked as the card is, I don't think was a huge meta force last year. As much as I'm putting on high on tier lists and being like, please, people, listen. I'm not saying I was correct. In fact, I was wrong. But that card is messed up. It's NV testings, twinning, and occasionally Cole. I think we played against folks who like play. I like the line too. It's kind of fun to like play Pudma and just keep a Coalescence with a charge on it, and you run R&D against 2 credits. Burners and Kit a lot. Yeah, and Kit plays it. Kit plays it like the sort of prepaid, straightforward kits. They'll for sure play it. But like that wasn't well represented at Worlds last year. Like I feel like I'm icing HQ against Lat just so like DJ Fenris doesn't come down. I feel like the low numbers of Burner in the Worlds cut is a direct consequence of Sokka coming out and saying it's bad card and Lat. Yeah, I know, and I don't agree with that entirely. There's a chance that Timmy Wong was playing Burner in Isla. I think Timmy Wong's hot on Burner. It seems like a Timmy Wong card, which is good too. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not too sure, but it wasn't super common. It's true that it's like tricky in Lat and like it eats your Lat draw, but like the card is just so good. Even in like the matchups that are not combo matchups, like bottoming seamless launches, he kind of wins games, I think. What does Sokka even know? He didn't even win Worlds. He didn't win Worlds once. I'll continue to disagree with arguably the best player. It's like a defensible stance for what it's worth. Like we all have our own biases. Like I'm not saying he's not good. Obviously he's incredibly good. But like, why not disagree with him a bit? What's the worst? You're going to be wrong? Oops. The world champ was right. My bad. Patty swore at me a lot for bottoming his seamless launches. It was fun. Yeah, because then they have to advance their agendas. And like, you can tell when they're agendas because they advanced them. I really like it. It like eats Anoetic Void alive, which is quite nice too. Hey, Neural, Burner has won me a fair few games, but I've been playing it in Kit. Yeah, in Kit, it's just fine. It's just good. I know I had it in my Pawn Shop Lat deck. Bridgman doesn't play it, and I was just using it as like HQ multi-axis. I was also playing Cupulation, but like you find the agenda, put on top of R&D, you win. It was usually the closer in that game. It'd be like, okay, at this point I played control. There's definitely an agenda in hand. I'll burner it, put on top of R&D, close the game. And I think in Lat, a lot of people will use their spin doctors incredibly aggressively to deny Lat draw, which might not be correct. And so you don't often find yourself in a situation where the burner gets countered by a spin doctor. It's also run event for Swift, and it's 2 influence less than Cup. Oh, that's cool too. Shaper players just need to plan ahead further so they can still get the Lat draw after burner. Like I'm playing Lat, and you're like, I'm gonna run HQ, okay, and then you have the 2 like game plans. What happens if I steal an agenda? Then how do I get Lat? Or what happens if I don't steal an agenda? And how do I get Lat? Or don't trash a card? I think that's really fun. Solomir, how's it going? I'm gonna go tell Sokka. Y'all think he's wrong before he crushes me utterly. Sokka, please no. Yeah, no, it's fine. It's fine. Had someone void me, get burnered, and then be really sad when I reran the remote rough times. Lat is fun. That's how like Cannats was one. It was like a run remote server. I think our architect went from 5 to 3 cards. Burner got rid of like 2 seamlesses, left an agenda in hand, or stole the agenda, and then just ran the remote server next turn. It's very good. It's just very, very good. I like it. I'm just gonna say that. I think it's neat. I think it's what Criminal wishes they had. Let's say that. Embezzle. Are there no JNet games? This is remarkable. This is strange. I think I've seen a lot of people play open decklist recently, which is a relatively new feature, and I'm a big fan of it. I think it's a nice way to get more focused playtesting in, as opposed to getting blown out by Arissana with diversion maybe on JNet Casual, but Bezel's trying its best. It doesn't even show up sometimes. For all the opponents, I was wondering, saying, yeah, we'll hang out here for a bit. I guess we can, okay, twist my arm. I'll do the Marvel Champions article. No one wants to card versus Andre. I haven't played in over a year, else maybe I tried. You can always give it a shot, Kalana. Like, I try to be nice. There's always something to be learned. But like, it doesn't matter. It's about the enjoyment of the game, not like trying to make Andre lose or win. Are people striking JNet to force you to talk about Marvel Champions? Pat, you're in on the conspiracy too. Like 2 more minutes. We're going straight into Silktown. You can just open my article, Andre's Netrunner. That's true. It's true. I will. I'll try to. Hey, neither. Of course, not taking whatever goodies are getting an elevation out of the 3. Prod Epiphany and game. Which NBN has the best chance? Curious Noises. Neither. Also, firstly, thank you for continuing your support on the Metropole Grid. I know you kicked your tier up. That's really, really kind. Hey, it's Ren. Out of which one is going to get more support? I'm assuming Epiphany will, and I feel like it's just because Epiphany, it's easy to print cards that Epiphany will love, I think. Hey, Ren. Best of luck, have fun. I think Ren is playing in the Eternal League, if I'm not mistaken. I'm assuming Epiphany. It's like really easy to print 1 or 2 cards that makes Epiphany cool. I also think Near Earth Hub leaving makes Epiphany probably the dominant force in that like subsection of NBN asset spam. So that's pretty cool for Epiphany. GameNet, I'm assuming that Null Signal Games wants to just hope everyone forgets exists because it's miserable, and Proptivos already got way more support, and just about it's hard not to give a card that Proptivos likes. I think if NBN gets another advanceable ice like Mesna Chesto, that would be a lot, but I'd be surprised if that's the case. Ren Mulligans, I don't know what sort of BTL this is. This could be Built to Blast. This could be Oberth. This could be Hyper Glacier. It's hard to mulligan into that. Now, our opening hand is a Lily Pad. We definitely have a Turbine, but we don't have a Hush, which Hush is really good into the Glacier version of this matchup. Lily Pads are only a really great play in the opening hand. I want to check. We're on Sure Gamble and Creative Commission. Okay, we're on both. It's behind my face. I'm going to mulligan this. That's fine. That's acceptable. Hey, Beebs, new player here after watching a lot of Netrunner gameplay videos. It seems like Corps are more favored in this game. Do you think it's true? I think that changes on the meta. I think we've seen lately in competition, corporations are winning slightly more than half the time. It's not massively more. I think I've seen tournaments this year where it's up to 60%, but it's usually around 52 to 54%. I think that's fine. I think runners probably a bit harder to play, as much as runners can accidentally win and Corps can't. So it's kind of up to you to figure out what to do with that. But I don't think we're in a meta that's incredibly one-sided. And I don't know. There was some worry that maybe things were lopsided based off of matchups or bad draws or something like that, but it's hard to tell. I feel like we don't have to do much here. I don't want to run R&D because the ice gets res, so I think we can set up. We could Kyuban HQ. We're assuming this is a Mesna Chesto, which like we don't interact with that super well. So I think we just continue to set up a bit. And by continue, I mean start. Like, do we just put down a Turbine? We're gonna need it. I can DM you a plot of Corp Runner win rates I made up for reasons if you want to pull it up. Jeff's working on a video. I think we're all pretty excited for it. It probably changes a bit. I don't know how different it is. The best description of this meta is Corps feel like shit but keep winning. Yeah. Oh, it's standoff. Okay. So this is... Do we need this? This is going to be probably the Bridgman version. So this is, I think, a Mesna Chesto. Do we want to trash our Urban Art Vernissage? Yeah, F it. I don't care. I don't want to give Ren 5 credits. Luckily, play both sides in this game. Yeah, that's true. That is true. Turn 1 conduit spam, easy peasy. We have diversion, so I kind of want to make sure this ice isn't res sooner than later. This is going to draw us a lot of cards. Okay, that's fine. So we're going to have to discard a card here. I think a Kyuban is a fine discard. So we can do Sure Gamble to NV testing and not show that we have SMC, and then we can set up relatively quickly from here. So Turbine's super useful. This deck, if it's the deck I think it's on, is on like Surveyors, it's on Archers, so we're going to need the Turbine for sure. Cleaver's going to get through whatever the barriers are. Considering it's taken me 2 hours to edit 7 minutes of video, I'm not sure when this 2024 recap is ever coming out. Well, you have the whole year to sort it out, Jeff. It's still relevant. Looking forward to seeing it by 2026. It was a 2-0 above the law. It was a 2-0 above the law. That's actually huge. It was a free score too. So 3 cards are scored. So I'm assuming there's agendas in the bin. That means we can just run and check and force the shuffle. We want to have at least a program installed because we're pretty sure that this is going to be an SDS in the bin. So I'm going to draw once. We're going to install an SMC. We're going to Kyuban the advanced ice, and then we'll trash whatever we want here. This could be on punitive. We're going to Arissana Kyuban on this ice, which Ren's already spent credits on, so I'm not sure they're going to trash immediately. And this makes sure that we can threaten at least SDS. We're going to access a mess in chest. That was thrown out. Ren's hand is wild if a mess in chest was thrown out. Now, unless we have Hush, that card's actually really good. Fizerum deals with it. We're on Fizerum, right? Yeah, okay. So that's the way that we can deal with that card. Sorry for the big jumps here. And we're pretty quick to like hitting 9 credits on the environmental testing. We can just pay 9 and go. So we'll see if Ren pushes out here. If Ren reses this, Ren can't res this. We're looking at Biovault, Tucanas, a lot of things here. So we can assume that this is going to be a barrier. So we can install a propeller and run. It's a border control cleaver and run works. This is maybe an archer. I think that's a problem, but at least we can respond to the SMC. I think in this matchup, propeller and cleaver, I think it's probably better to have cleaver, but I'm pretty sure this is going to be an archer. So I think we'll just do cleaver and run, and then we can always grab the Fizerum, at least for a bit. You'll not trick me into thinking standoff has text? It does. Oh, Hordem. That's not good. So our decoder here is Euler. So we can SMC for an Euler, which will give us 9. I think it's just Euler. I should move these tabs closer together, excuse me. So Euler comes down for the turn, and it breaks it for, not good. It breaks it for 2, so we pay 6. I'm just going to do it. The server has to be important. We know that Ren's hand was really weird. Euler of the Edmonton Oilers? This one and the same. Hey, MVP Regine K event was Erdic Cypher. I wrecked so many runners. Bagels, what were you playing? Tucana, okay. Rashida, okay, great. So we dealt with that. We're going to run this now for 4 credits going forward, which is not hot. We have an overclock. We could have considered overclocking that, actually. So on 2 credits, we can run HQ here. Ren probably can't res, and they might still have an agenda in hand, but I like the money on this. Oof. I mean, I'll take it. I wanted to Kyuban again, but I guess we won't now. So Ren cleared out a lot of agendas. The mess on Chessa was thrown out. We could go back. Ren might have another card. We could also play creative. I'm okay pushing the aggression a bit there. But what's the chance Ren had 4 agendas? 2 shuffled back with Spin Doctor, 1 we stole. I think they're in a bad spot anyways that we can run HQ. I'm just going to continue to set up. I don't think we need to play the creative commission. We need to get deeper into our deck. We need to find simul chips. We need to find our lily pad. Wolf 2, Wolf 2. Okay, double advance. This could be easily a Biovault. This could just be an agenda in hand. If we want to run this, we have to get through the Hordem, so we can just trade an overclock for it, no problem. A Biovault we have to trash for 2. That's fine. So NGO front also makes a lot of sense. This is likely to be an NGO front. Ren can't really score at a 5-3, so I'm going to say this is an NGO front and we actually don't have to run it. Let's just set up. Pichushon is good. If Ren gets a little money. Def NGO, yeah, I think so. It's really ugly when you're like, if Ren was on 3 credits, this actually threatens to be an agenda, but on 2 credits, it's a fair bit worse. All right, we could do Lilypad creative. Yeah, it's fine. We're not gonna install a program this turn, unfortunately. I feel like I'm crooked, like physically body crooked. Why does my neck just hurt? Maybe this is no. Now I'm like this is center frame. This is weird. Okay. I think we'll just do Imel chip creative. Whatever. I don't think we feel bad showing that. Install the turbine that makes the Horde much cheaper. Yeah, I will, which is like why we have the lily pad here. Saves us 2 credits, so we play 4 for the turbine. It'll save us our money. Oh shit. So it's Biovault into NGO. Pause for effect. I don't think showing the turbine is wise. I don't think there's much in showing it. Right? Like we're a shaperless, right? Why does my neck hurt? That's just part of being human for me at this point. I fear I am getting old. All right. Oofa doofa. Oofa doofa. So we can just overclock this. We're going to get a Biovault. Ren's technically on 10 credits here. This has to be a mess in chest, so I'm pretty sure. It still gives us money to trash everything. Could be a 5-3. Can we turbine run this? Yeah, I'm going to overclock too, though. So this is weird. Because, ow, if that was an NGO front, you would just crack the NGO front. So that means that this is either another Biovault or this is an agenda. Right? Because why would you crack the Biovault there if that was an NGO front? You just forced me to pay 2 credits to trash the Biovault. So this is an agenda. So we can run it. We want to be able to touch it with at least 2 credits. Yeah, the older card was Bio. This is the new one. So if this is an NGO front, why would you crack that? So we probably just do credit run it. We can put the Peach Chant on it. I don't think it's huge. Getting old says the person with no white or gray hair. Diogen, my mustache is getting whitened. I got some white mustache in just the other day. I think I've been stressed lately, man. But I'm getting close to your lovely white mustache. It's happening. I noticed it the other day. For those who don't know, Diogen has a really, really nice full set of silver facial hair. It's quite a good look. All right, might be an agenda. If it's an agenda, actually, we should Arissana Peach Chant on top of it. Yeah, I'm going to do it. No, I'm not going to do it. We have a, whatever, we have a simul chip. What? Whoa. That was an NGO? That's wild. I don't know why that happened. Like, in theory, it baited us to spend 2 more credits and a run. But if Ren didn't crack it, we have to spend 2 credits there? Maybe it's like equivalent? Maybe that's better. Daijin does have an extra mustache, agreed, yeah. We need 2 credits when breaching? Yeah, we do need 2 credits. That's why I clicked Arissana and stopped. I was like, wait, no, that doesn't make any sense. All right, so we need to recover financially. We're not a Coalescence deck, which is going to be tricky. And we threw out a Kyuban, which might have been wrong, because I think that's a very important card, and we lost our thing. Doof time? No, we don't want to doof, because this is a mess to Chesvo, and we can't break it. If anything, we can do simul chip into doof. But we want the doof to be a bit more consistent. If this is an eminent, it's pretty bad. That's the worst case because they score at eminent for like 1 credit. So we can do simul chip doof, but it doesn't do enough. You can if you chip. I think this is like where we don't wolf 1. I think we just continue to set up and keep this for a better day. We're drawing while we have this, which feels bad. Oh yeah, we shouldn't have thrown out the Kyuban. We'll simul chip a Kyuban back. I think the way we get back into this game is by Kyubaning something repeatedly. So we can install the propeller, but it's not really worth much. We can run install the Peach Chant. It's not worth much. We in theory could run HQ and Peach Chant on top of this and assume that Ren reses a 5 coster. That's pretty good for us. I think we're okay with that. I'm just getting some pressure on. I think if Ren has an agenda, it goes into server 3 though, but at least for us, it's like a clickless card draw. Kind of. I'll bite. So Ren can res, but if it's a mess in Chesvo, resing it for 5 to make us lose 1 is not fantastic. DZ into propeller for a free draw. I don't want to install a propeller. If you know me, I won't ever install the DZ MZ. Spin. Okay, so this remote server is better than a spin. Andre install DZ's challenge. I'll run the Valley counter on it again. I might, Lucille. I don't think I will this turn. We can run again. It's free. Why not? Why not? It's free. Man, DZ in a deck where we don't have pawn shop? What are we doing? I'll just continue to set up. I think this is an eminent. I don't know what else it would be. Yeah, it's an eminent. We might have wanted to charge that. That's not good. Okay, I'll try and install the DZ. That's why I want to get the SMC out, but there's our MU. Archer on R&D, that's really well thought out for this matchup. That is going to be a problem. We probably should have contested this, even maybe with the simul chip. Because now our conduit into the Archer, the cheapest we break this is like 4 credits. We have to win off of HQ. So at least here we can run. Let's install the DZ so we have no money. That'll be a sick play. And now the mess in Chesvo res is like really, really unfortunate. So we can keep doing this until we see every single card in the hand. Okay, so we know every single card. It's Winchester into Spin Doctor. Unfortunate, we are financially destitute. Feel we can get a Physarum doof off? Yeah, we can get a Physarum doof off. It costs us like 4. The thing is, like, I don't think I want to do it until it actually really, really matters. Why would they res if they don't have an agenda? Sometimes it's not agenda, but I guess we have no money. The thing is, like, it gives us free information. We might as well run. I don't expect Ren to res, unless Ren has an agenda. And then Ren spends 5, which is fantastic. So we can install the propeller for free. No, our MU is not full, but we could. Yeah, I'll do it just to simulchip. Why not? Oh, that's why not. Oh, dummy. Should have drawn first. Yeah, we need a doof to get back in this damn game. We also probably shouldn't install a simulchip because I think we need a Kyuban to get back in this damn game. So that's Winchester. That might be a spin doctor. Things are slipping away. I feel like we've mismanaged the middle of this game pretty heavily. This is good ice. So DZ's been -1 credit, -1 click. Great. I wish this was a buzzsaw. So Archer could be here. Surveyor could be here. Why do you have so many installed cards but no credits? I think we installed all the cards. We don't have dirty laundries, right? Oh, we do. Okay, we'll be saved. There's some really good top decks here. So we could consider running this. I don't know how bad the face check can be. This wasn't an advanced card, so it's more likely to be a surveyor or border control. One of those is fine. The issue is if we use the simulchip, it draws a card, but we break Hordem for free once, sort of, kinda. But I think we're gonna need our simulchips on our on the other stuff. I think the DZ was incorrect. There's no way of knowing. There's still quite a long game ahead of us. Unless this is a second eminent, I don't care. Overclock may be a good top deck. Yeah, I don't want to run this though, because there's a chance of the spin doctor. Like, we just need to get back in the money. I think it might make sense for us to do like environmental testing into simulchip over another turn. Unfortunately here, like, I don't know if we SMC for something on their turn to draw. But like, we have to environmental testing to get back into the game. Like, fuck, that's not a good turn. If only we had a pawn shop. So hedge fund install. Okay, so that is now worth running. So we can get the simulchip down. We can get the environmental testing down. The problem is then we're on 1 credit. Like, this might be a case where we have to not. If we diversion, this is going to be a 9 credit res for our friend here, and that's not going to be great for us. So I think we just simulchip run this. I don't know what happens if it's an archer. I'm assuming it's bad. Pass. Again, Arissana has priority when you're approaching, so you technically can install something before it's rezzed. It is an archer. Okay, that was the bad one. That's really quite bad. I don't think we can break this. Shit, why do we always do the bad thing? So Ika will come in at 4 strength, so we pay 2 to get this out. Then we have to host it for 4, so that's not good. Bazarum is 4. We're just short 2 credits. We're short 2 credits. So if the archer connects, we can repair the damage entirely this turn with simulchip. But we have no good way of dealing with this. Because we want to SMC into... I know Kyuban is a thing, but I think there's room for Chesva in a lot of Ari decks. It's an interesting idea. It's something I kind of want because you can install things running. But I feel like Chesva is just like... I know it doesn't give you credits for breaking, but I feel like Urban Arbitrage is just functionally just Chesva. Yeah, it's just fires. Not having Muse is like a bit of a whiplash. So we lost the turbine, that's fine. We can install that for free. We lost the SMC, that's wild. That's really, really cool. So the turbine probably comes back. And be testing simulchip to use both? Yeah, I think we do. I think we do rebuild. Well, I don't know if we used both because I don't think we want to simulchip that much else back. I think we do environmental testing and then just install this to draw. That's cool. So Winchester, Mess and Chesvo, like, fuck. Archer's not gonna be easy for us. So that's another eminent. We're in a really bad spot. Half the deck in new UAV. We trashed our first one. So it's on us. Maybe we click for a credit there. I don't know. So we can dirty laundry. Archives at a minimum. Oh, that's bad. So it looks like 2 Kana into an agenda. Last click draw. Okay. Weird. So what do we have to do here? How do we actually break Archer? We have to, this could be a virus, which is actually a problem. If this is a virus, we can't plan on coalescence. Or sorry, not coalescence, Physarum. We actually have to get our Eco on the table. So getting our Eco on the table means we have to like simulchip for that's really, really bad. We don't want to do that. We do want to have a simulchip on the table though, in case it's an SDS, because the deck is on SDS, and I think send a message. Played my first game of the Netrunner League today. Super fun to play Core Set and Genesis cards for the first time. Oh yeah, for the first time. That's super cool. I actually haven't played in exactly that meta. That was slightly before I started playing the game. Genesis is a cool set. Man, I feel do we have an echelon? We don't even oh, we have an echelon. Okay, so we should just play like setup Netrunner and not care. Oofa doofa. Whatever. No, this is not right. This is right. This means that if an SDS gets scored, we can react to it. Okay. Let's see if it's just a Winchy or a Mesny. Porticho Tucana. Ren's on only 2 credits, which is good. Archer plus Eminent Domain is so harsh. Yeah, it is a mess in chess, no surprise. It does feel kind of rough, right? Like it feels like a snowball, and like maybe that's good, but 3-1 going across losing the game is something I know I've classically been a bit upset about. I don't think it's exactly the case because it's just ice, but yeah, 3-1 get an Archer is it turns out it's good as much as people didn't play this like 6 months ago. All right, so Ren has 2 credits. We can get to HQ. Cost us 5 credits somehow. Oofa doofa. So echelon will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 strength. That's actually really good. Just keep setting up. Okay, there's a Physarum, so it's not that. We can run R&D here. It's not that great. If we run HQ again with the Dirty Laundry, we'll be on not enough credits. We can flicker the Oiler and get an access on HQ. It's clickless. That's not particularly fantastic. We can also like Physarum the Mest and Chesvo. Ren might just purge. But we can run HQ with the Physarum and get in for 2 credits. We probably do that next turn, but if Ren installs advances, they'll be on 3, 4. So I think we keep the Physarum for this. I think we just do very little. We can draw once, we can Dirty Laundry Archives. That's at least good for the remote server. We don't have Hush in this deck. Oh man, I'm becoming a modern Ari fan. I'm gonna draw last click. That's so bad. I should have drawn before playing the Dirty Laundry. There's no reason to do it in that order. That's very wrong. We have no pinhole either, right? We have very little attack. It's just doof. Huh. Okay, this is advanced. The card goes into server 3. So we're looking at Rashida, Eminent. All of those are not good. This deck doesn't run any 3-2s, I don't think. Doof is all the tech you need. Now, if the problem is that this is a Winchester, which we know it is, that the Doof gets ducked, that means we can still Doof in theory and like make Ren lose all Ren's money. But I think we just want to get the Echelon. Special Detective John, how's it going? How's the stream yesterday? I only caught the most half of it. This is Rashida, like, I don't know. I think we want to go HQ here. So far, DZ has been an absolute joke. We have 18 cards. We can maybe do nothing. Okay, Cuban's good, because we can put the Cuban on the Winchester and force a res, but then we have to use the Physarum. Why is this like this? Stream is good. I managed to dodge Archer. Classic. Classic Patrick. I think I just SMC for an Echelon and just like play the most boring Netrunner known to... Oh, this is ugly. Yes, and draw the Echelon. Oh, no! I knew what would happen. Why did I hit yes? It was a 1 in 15. We drew the Echelon. Oh, no. Why? Because it's a 1 in 15, results oriented. You'll never guess what I drew. Ah, some days is not your day. Silent Ship died for nothing. No, it's okay. We got another SD. Yeah. That's bad. That's bad, y'all. So this installs for free. No, it installs for 1. Stupid DZMZ. All right, we have a lot of money though. Like, what's the worst card in hand? We need this. We need this. We need this. I think it's Fizerum. I think we just pay for Messna Chesto. No, that's silly. Egan Archer would have been good. It's not that good though. Right? Like we echelon it for 4 credits. I think it's cheaper. Yeah, I think Diversion's the worst card in our hand. That feels good. Oh, that's bad. That's not good. Hedge fund. Oh, our Diversion's good now. Shit. Shit, that was bad. Hedge fund credit. And now we're not gonna have infinite value because we don't have we don't have what's it called? This has to be better for us than Ren. If Ren reses this, I will Cubon it. If not, I'll Cubon the Messni. Pass Prio. No further. Okay, cool. That makes sense. Money in Core Genesis on core side is so awful. Yeah, that's probably true. Did you get the Regolith in Genesis, or was it Spin Cycle? So we lost 3 to Message Chest, so sorry, this is a bit hard to read. There's probably an agenda in here. It could actually be in server 3. I don't know what else it would be. The virus, maybe? No money. So we can run R&D for... Well, now we just run HQ because it's free. Not Fizerum, Mesty. No, it's the same. We break for 2, we break for 2. If Ren keeps advancing this, we could put the Fizerum on this. This might be the virus, but as of now, it doesn't really matter a lot. The Cubon's a bit better for us because it rebounds the 2 that we lose anyways. Like the Cubon does the same as the Fizerum does and it can't get purged. Now it's cheaper, in fact. Another Winchy, okay. Yeah, it's rough. 1 in 15. Sometimes it turns out it's optional. Okay. Oh, if only we had another diversion. If had we another diversion. If had we. So this could be anything, right? Obviously, it could win Ren the game. We have to run the server twice. This is 4-8. So we're going to run it once. We're just going to run it once. And we're going to overclock it. That's all we're going to do. You know, you have too many programs installed when you take 5 seconds to find the right breaker. We need more drop-down menus. I think we just run this. Why would we divert a diesel? Why would we diesel? Let's talk about it. No reason. Did we play 3 environmentals? No, we have 1 more in our deck. That's a shame. So we're not going to straight overclock. In theory, you can. I'd rather always keep the overclock for the second run because that's the one where your opponent like thinks you don't have the money and then you do the surprise. I think denying a credit on the archer is fine. Oiler, we don't have a choice. It's break 2 for 2. Show me a border control. And the club slate overclocking it. I mean my rig. All right, Ren's got to think. Nice. Ren didn't advance the message Chesto, which makes sense. They had something else to do in the server. Oiler, we'll find it. Okay, 1 real credit. Tucana will buy a vault. So this might be an agenda? This has to be an agenda, otherwise it's a very well protected virus. And for a penny, I don't have to manage my economy. I'll be on game point. It's going to fire Tucana, which is not great, but... What do you do? Compilation? I feel like Ren has a scoring window here. Fuck. How do they keep doing that to us? So I think we actually have to get rid of this. This deck isn't on hostile, but it is on standoff. Whatever. We look cool. We actually probably should have nuked, not dieseled there. Ah, you ready to click for some credits? Oh, we have the Urban Art Vernissage just in time to install our SMC and our Phaserum. That's good. That's really good. Ah! At least if Ren score is an eminent, it'll be bad for us. Oh, stop. Not like this. Do we have another overclock? I think we played all of them. Moving the Kyuban seems okay. It does seem okay. But we pay 2 for that privilege. It draws a card with Lily, which is nice. So this is 4, 5, 6. I don't know what this is. 4, 5, 6. We can run this. We break this for cheaper than 3. It might be the Winchester. You need Pinhole more than Doof in this matchup, yeah. But this is like a matchup as 3 NGO fronts. Like Ren is really good at bouncing back on economy and like got an Archer on R&D. Like this was res for free. That is a really big problem against our archetype. Okay, hold on. We probably just lose here. Man, I've got so used to playing Hush. 4, 5, 6, 7. Then we run it back. So say that we save credits. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We run it back. Nah, dog. When do you ever need Doof more than Pinhole? Yeah, it's true. It's weird how that be like that. I mean, get effed? Like, we just lose. Like, this, a diversion would do something. So if we pop the boarding control, so we pay 3, 4, 5, 6. We're on 3 credits. We have to run back for 5 credits. So we're on 3 credits. We can't do it. We're click short. What do we do? Click 1. Gamble? Sick. So we could bounce the border control so that Ren doesn't have money. Glory run on R&D? Yeah, it's super unlikely, but we can run R&D twice. It's the only thing we have. And we have to break all of the archers so Ren can't res. Running HQ is also okay. There's no 3-cost advanceable ice in this deck. This should be free. All right, that's bad. Okay, so we can't win. We could hope that this is a like play around this being the Biovault, but like Ren has it. So I guess we run HQ. It's free. And then lose on 6 points. Tree line, okay. Oh, that was bad. Did not feel good. Ooh, that was absolutely baited in the remote. I got baited so hard. So Ren was like doing weird things with like the Biovaults. It didn't seem right, but it made me do the wrong thing, so it was correct. Yeah, totally. I think I mismanaged. Yeah, but I tossed one. I mismanaged my early economy, I think. I really needed the Kyuban to do something. Yeah, that's where a diversion would have been good. Only thing missing was Caprice Nisei for this matchup. Yeah, me too. In a good game, use Rich, but in a hard, yeah, I need to put you in a situation where I can capitalize. And Archer on R&D, seems pretty good. If I remember what day it is, Crore, how's your Friday? The first Biovault was right to deny overclock value. Cost another click plus 2 credits. Was it? Yeah, so like so much of this money, we have a bit of like event economy, but a lot of this money is like we have to get our opponent into a situation where we can get Kyuban going. And unfortunately, we just couldn't in this matchup. It's really, really hard. Thought I had a pretty good remote going, so I decided to make sure I don't lose on Centrals. Yeah, Whoredom is We're like installing this rig where you get Oiler and Turbine and then still pay 2 for Hordem is pretty good. Right? I think Seb-K was lamenting the Oiler, but like paying 2 for Hordem after you install like 6 costs worth of programs still is a lot. Like we spent so much money breaking this Horde in this game. Hey, you too. Cheers. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Ren is playing in the Eternal stream. Someone in the Eternal League. Someone correct me if that's not the case. All right, we'll do another one. Yeah, it's such a wild, different Ari. It's like such a different mindset to what modern Ari plays like. And by Ari, I mean like Pawn Shop Lat. Than it does like old school Ari. And I feel like old school Ari, that deck, like I have so much fun playing that against like an Asa group more than I would against that, I think. Friday stream, it is Friday in some places. In Crow's world, it's a good old Friday. It's Cassandra. Oh, I picked Corp. Okay, this is a mistake. I didn't mean to be Corp. We're going to play some core damage PD. Sorry, a bit of change of schedule there, but we did get an opponent, and I did opt for this deck for this side of the table. So we're playing Tron's core damage PD. It's one of deck I like really playing. So we're playing against Sable, 46 cards. What do we have? We have a Nightmare Archives. We have the early Onto, which is not fantastic. Yeah, I guess it's Friday in the UK as well. Corp is acting. Oh, excuse me. Thanks, you too. We could do worse than this hand. I'll keep it. As far as mind games go, from me that game. Oh, good game. I like using the border control to keep threatening an agenda because it seemed you didn't care about the unadvanced card. No, the one turn that the unadvanced was in the remote server, I was pretty sure was an eminent. And that was really bad. But then the archer threat is just so hard for me to deal with. A deck I really like playing, he says like someone holding a gun to his head. No, I really do. I really actually think this core, oh, that's bad. This core damage PD is like just hella fun. Just because you fire PD like 4 or 5 times and it's an absolute treat. Are we gonna ice HQ so we don't get diversioned? This is okay. And then we can put Gatekeeper on R&D, I guess. You can always go through this. Run your digital life, so Gatekeeper firing is also pretty good. Yeah, core PD is fun. Yeah, happy Valentine's Day for the Friday people. Happy Valentine's Day. Sometimes you run into a Caldera, though. I feel like if I ran into a Caldera on JNet Casual, I would just be like, okay, you have my number so hard, and that's okay. You came here to beat me and just beat me and nobody else. And if that's what your goal, that you win. You totally won. And then you just like remember FFG rotation happens. Why would Caldera? It beats PE sometimes. I feel like the good PE decks, you can't even use Caldera. You're too poor, right? I don't know. Doof doesn't exist. No, we want to ice HQ anyways because it's Sable, right? Like if Sable rolls the mark, we don't want that to happen. Tunnel Vision. So I think this is a deep dive deck. I don't think it's a knife deck. Tunnel Vision breaks Gatekeeper for a lot. So I don't think we're going to res it because we have a lot of agendas in hand. But if we want to break Gatekeeper here, it's 2, 4, 6. I don't think I care that much. Sometimes you run to Caldera, yeah, and then the Caldera player gets rolled by Rick PD. Click 1, Caldera, I got you, and then they just like seamless out 3 agendas. Trash the Jupes out for 4, okay, so they know what we're about. Tron, how's it going? I didn't mean to play this deck. I queued the wrong side of the table. Fun fact, 14th of February is also the day they commemorate surrendering to the Japanese in World War II. We commemorate, oh. Wild. Ooh, okay, that was good. Maybe the Gatekeeper firing would be okay. So we can install another Spin Doctor. I think we're just gonna do draw your digital life because Sable runs archives every once in a while because of the mark, and I want to throw these out. So I'm totally fine with this. We could also throw out some ontologicals. Oh, right hand size, that's fine. No shot Dupes as trash is right. No, I don't like trashing expensive cards off the top of R&D. It's not a really good draw for us. So like I wouldn't advocate for that. I'm actually really happy it paid 4 for that because we just draw a different card. I think people are too happy trashing cards off the top of R&D. The corporation just draws something else. Droopside is not that good on that board state when we're on 5 credits. HQ is the mark. Jaguar is break for 4. We got to res this though. Otherwise the runs get pretty bad. Best case scenario, it hits a Nightmare Archives. This does make face checking pretty easy. One-time Nightmare Archives. Fuck. That was more likely, let's be honest. At least it's destitute. Little cute dog. Classic, nice. All right, a lot of cards in hand. Ablative. They might not be that good at remote stuff, so we can do draw Rashida Ablative. Okay, that's bad. So we can't just lose on HQ. I think a lot of people are scared of Jupestad. Yes, but it's also 4 credits and we're on 5. I think a lot of people would want the peace of mind of just trashing Jupestad on site. But we also have a Spin Doctor on the table, right? Like that also makes it a pretty rough trash. Because you're just saying we can get it back if we want to. Yeah. The Spin Doctor needs some attention for sure. No, I don't think our opponent needs to run the Spin Doctor. It turns out Spin Doctor is really good in this deck because we run the Derez card, Elevigao, and we only have 2 of these Spin Doctors. Let's draw a Yodel. Okay, that's fine. So we should put some ice on HQ. I'm assuming there's still Deep Dive, which again, Nightmare Archives is good for that. So we can set up the Jupestad and hope that we top deck an Elevigao. So let's get some money. We'll get this in the remote server, which might attract attention. And then I think we actually do just get the Tattoo Bull on HQ. It's 2 credits for this. We could have done the next. The problem is like next won't face check that well. It doesn't have a lot of money though. I think as a crim, I don't want to trash it on R&D because I can use Bones later. Yes, I don't know if this deck's on Bones. It's more likely to be on Chezzo is my guess. But there's actual breakers here, so this might not just be... Maybe you run a Shibboleth, but this might not be Deep Dive. We've seen no influence, so it's probably Deep Dive. My number 1 PD problem is playing like I have 5 card hand size. I get really bad at the math where it's like, I'm going to play, I don't know, like red level into Your Digital Life. Trying to figure out if you have a Nightmare Archives. Oh, there's an easy way to find out. Top deck Elevigao, instant win. Yeah, Elevigao into the Jupestad is so good here for like many, many reasons. We get back Spin Doctor Derez, we get a Yodel, we get the core damage. It's like so effing good. But trash Jupe on R&D for this deck. I think normally trashing R&D is wrong, but this is such a key part of this deck. They found out. Yeah, let's see what it does. Whether it's -1 points or core. Sorry. We can big deal salvo? After we YDL, if we get the Elevigao, yeah. Oh, it took a core. Sick. With 1 Onto, I think it's easier. It's like a easier pill to swallow for sure, the Onto. Because this is the real big punishment for core damage in this deck. So this is the 3-2, which is still something. Its money has really slowed down. The daily cast is good. The bounty is good. I don't know if we can get an ice on Archives. But Elevigao top deck is incredible here if we can get it. Oof. I don't feel confident pushing that. I don't think I pushed this. I think I can draw once, install Rashida, install ice, throw out the salvo. We can use that next turn to draw for Elevigao if we don't have it for some reason. But I think here we throw out the Ikua. No, we throw out the Nightmare. I think HQ is relatively safe. Sable's going to be running Archives 1 and 3 turns because of info bounty, so this is worth something. It probably won't take the second core damage. Yeah, Archives is the Archives, so I'm glad we threw that out. Otherwise, the agenda just like forces the Spin Doctor, and if we need to Elevigao for Spin Doctor, we should keep a Spin Doctor. Bad dream storage. As long as you have them in a locker and you know where the locker is. The issue is when you lose the locker. Oh, sorry. It's a clickless core damage. That's kind of nice. All right. Now they're on 1 agenda point. All right, Boomerang's going for the remote server. Good. We can't really afford to res this ablative here. It has enough money to trash everything, which is a bummer. I don't want to res this. I'll rather eat the Boomerang. We'll just put the next diamond on it. This feels bad. At least we have a Spin Doctor here. I hate core damage. I hear you. I wouldn't even call it an acquired taste. We need to get these Jupes back in the deck. I think I can get these Jupes back in the deck. I feel toxic. Oh, just in time. Okay, Giordano is fine. We could set up the Elevigao into salvo testing. That also might be fine. So we can gain a click here. We can do Hedge Fund, Giordano, next, trashing the Ablative. I like that. And then next turn we can install double. Don't worry about our hand. I like this kind of core damage. Yes, I don't like Cerebral Overrider, which is like, do you lose the game or not? This is at least interesting. Like our opponent having 4 hand size, it's not a huge deal. Do we keep a blade around? Threat is coming. You know what? I guess we could. We could have saved an extra credit there. Yeah, that deadens the boomerang regardless. I think you're right. We should have kept it. Yeah, we can pay an extra credit here. No problem. Because it's not like we top deck a big deal and it's playable. Yeah, I think it is worth keeping because it probably just installs another boomerang and then we have an ablative. Particularly because this deck is probably not good at running remotes. Having the end the run is fine. Hey, Blurby, how's it going? Because really the threat is don't let the corpse score agendas, which is very regular. Yeah. It's not like a Wayland core damage deck that flatlines you, right? Right? NFL, cool. Notably, there's no window to fire the first Jaguarundi subroutine, no free lunch, and then run. R&D is the mark here. So if we res this, it'll take a fair few credits out of their pool, but then it'll be a 2 credit break. Titan is a POG ID. I feel like I enjoyed playing Titan, but it did not feel super fair. Super bummed to miss the stream Tuesday. Play Jupestat outfit at Worlds. Yo, get out! Blurby, I made the Jupestat outfit deck. I was going to do a deck dive. I'm going to record tomorrow. I wonder how different yours is. It's 6. That's a lot of money. Now we know we have a lot of agendas in hand. Most of the agendas. So this shouldn't be a bad axis. Another day of the cast. Good. Nice. We're going to get into click here. I think we do the Elevagao, don't we? But we have to res this so they don't run it. If we don't res it, they run it. And so we have to res it so they don't run it. I guess we didn't need the click. We could have got a credit. I thought we were going to go for the Ikwa. But now we have the Jupestad into the Elevagao next turn. So we can put the Gatekeeper on Archives. Info Bounty is your mark. So we should just put something on Archives. No, wait, probably a lot different. I think I had like a relatively inefficient slots. I had like 2.5 win cons. I have 2 win cons, scoring, and I have core damage to end the line. I have like 2 public trails. But the basis is like do enough core damage to like public trail end the line kills. We also have that bad publicity agenda that allows you to click for 2 damage, and then we can like soften someone. But those are really our options here. We still have seen, again, check this out. We've seen no influence, which means they're very much likely it's on 3 deep dives. So just keep that in mind. We see backstitching as well. It is very much, but it's like, it's very hard to deep dive with tunnel vision. So maybe I'm missing something. Go for Salvo, 2 core per agenda. I think we're going to start with the Jupestad because then we can go to the Onto and then like, that's really good. I think we're more likely to going to use the Elevagao to derez the Spin Doctor to get the YDL so we can afford the upcoming, what's it called? Big deal. Because there's still 2 big deals in 18. Overclock going AQ. Whoa, huge run here. And we don't even have Tattoo Bullet Ice. Oof, this is a really good run. Very unlikely this misses an agenda. And again, we've gone through a lot of cards and not hit an agenda. So this taxes 2-4. This taxes out 1 credit, so I guess we'll res it. I have some punitive Tucana Anemone City Works TLA end a line and scoring. Scoring the food that does damage seems hard, but if you can get it in the score, it will be brutal. With yeah, it seems good. And by good, I mean it seems bad. I do not like this at all. I feel like the agendas are safer in the remote server. We should learn that tunnel vision decks are tunneling. Especially because we don't swap too. Like it might sniff it out. Please hit the Jupestad. Not the Onto. The Salvo. That's bad. Okay. I feel like we haven't done much this game. Can we claw it back? Maybe. It's possible. Hannah. It's on 1 card in hand. Let's find out what that card is. Jupestad. It's a gun. That's good. Elevagao. There is a spin. Choose a card. I think we're going for the YDL. Next turn, we'll just score the Onto. We're getting set up. It's close. Like we can lose on any single axis at this point. Like R&D is run for free if it's the mark with info bounty. So like we can just lose. We have 1 3-pointer in R&D, but it's in a tricky situation. We can't res the next diamond, so it should just run this. But then we can res the Giordano, and then we're both kind of bankrupt. So not the easiest. We might just like yodel next turn. I don't know. I feel like the Giordano, we'd rather have it on HQ with this hand. Let's be honest. Oh, R&D is the mark, so we could just lose to a single. I don't think we're going to shuffle back with Spin Doctor, though. If it hits the last Nightmare Archive, that's going to be a really interesting choice. Because on 2 core damage, going on to 3 core damage is not a huge difference for Onto scores, because they're just fast advanceable. Yeah, so we have a 1 in 17 chance to lose here. I don't want to Spin Doctor. Actually, if we Spin Doctor here, we're committing. We could Spin Doctor here and just draw, so it doesn't see the card we draw. I don't think I would care if it sees the card that we draw. Yeah, that's fine. Oh, we get the info bounty after the run. Yeah, ends. Okay, that's good to know. Okay, threat 4 is real, so we could just like pop off. Wow. YDL, Jaguar R&D. Pretend that's where the game is. We could red level clearance to get more cards. I don't think we need to. YDL's messed up. Yeah, 100% it's messed up. We can YDL so we can top deck a 5-3, but I don't want to score the Iqua that from hand that bad. We'll just put this here and pretend we don't have anything in hand. Yeah, YDL is messed up, and that's why like PD is so good, because you can just get it back after your score, and that's why the Elevate guy was so good, because it's plus 2 cards. Cool, I hate YDL. Yeah, I think it's maybe weird to have a card that bounces back this hard, but it's really fun in PD. YDL is sick in CI. I think balancing standard or at Eternal, I think YDL is just kind of absurd in CI. What does Austin Neuromancer YDLs? I don't think I know what those are, Cole. I play with the Tag Mill YDLs. They're very fun. It's on 11 credits. What happened? So there's 2 cards that win the game. Sure Gamble, 15 credits. Okay. Backstitching. Red team, sick. We did see influence, mind you, with Hannah, so it's definitely not on 3 deep dives. This is last click into a Jaguar. Wait, this is huge. This means that you can still clear the tag. Can't wait to get another altar that gets immediately banned. What was the last one? Corps are already banned. Don't ban it anymore. Like, YDL is a fun card. I just wish it maybe cost 3. They gon' die? No, they can break it. It can break it. It's not going to die. It just has to end the turn with a tag. It could backstitching. The runner encounters dice, give them a tag unless they spend a click. So it can just break this and take a tag. It could also just backstitching it. Yeah. Is this a red team? Yeah, it is a red team run. 0 cards in hand? Oh yeah, it's gonna die to that. Yeah, that's true. It's gonna die to Jupstad unless it wins. If that's the case, we should just shuffle with Spin Doctor to make the less likely chance. Oh, it gets a click back. Okay, never mind. You're right. Sable. We're not gonna shuffle with Spin Doctor. It's 1 in 14. Trashed a big deal. No. All right. So let's just keep doing some core damage. Interactive gameplay. Advance, score. We'll do the Jupstad. Losing a pinhole is nice. Add a cards from Archives to HQ. So here it's either we add the YDL or the red level. I kind of want the red level because the ontological is a really good draw, and any agenda, if we can draw clicklessly, is really good with the Jupstad that it's not dealing with. Now, it can probably deal with the remote server, let's be honest. So I think I'll go for the red level here and just throw out the Mavirus. We could throw out the Iqua, but right now the Iqua in hand seems safer than anywhere else. Get back the big deal. We don't need to get the big deal here because we're on 3. When we're on 4, when we score the Elevagao, we'll get back the big deal. But the big deal is only necessary when we're on 17. So like Elevagao to Derez a Spin Doctor is our next best play from here. Remote Giordano is a little bit questionable for real. I agree. But now it's good. It was better on HQ when we were holding 4 agendas out of 5 cards, but now it's actually important to keep the Jupe stat alive. Against Sable, like, yeah, Central Giordano seemed kind of okay, let's be honest. It only has 2 hand size. Doesn't seem to be challenging us. I wonder if there's like Hendrick threat. We can't res his ice. I love the one of Giordano because like you generally get through enough of your deck that you always find it, and then by the time it matters, you either have it and can position it. It's nice to have a one of in a deck and be like, oh, that's kind of cool actually. There's like holograms in this art. One of them looks like a face. One of them looks like a clown. One of them looks like it's skates, but I think they're just shoes. And the other one looks like they're selling a stapler. I don't understand why they're selling a stapler that hard. And this stadium is also notably massive. Just huge. Like baseball stadiums don't sit like that, right? Sports fan loves staplers. Didn't they make like the Stapler Center in America? I'm kind of only half kidding. Good old Stapler Center. That's in Los Angeles, I think. No, maybe now it's named after a crypto thing. That probably is the way it went. Overclock archives. I'm not gonna res, I don't think. There's nothing in here. It's clean. Thank you, Cyberfeeder. Verge. Staple Center because we let brands buy everything. Well, like, I hear your pessimism, but also like stadiums are very expensive. I feel like it wants to go HQ. Very cool. Very cool. Ooh, Hannah. So the weird thing is Giordano doesn't make the run unsuccessful. Isn't that bizarre? When there is a successful run. So like Hannah's not going to get like cooked here. Funny enough, if we could res the next diamond, it would be game winning, but we can't. So we'll res this. So it's still a successful run. If it wants to get in, it has to pay 6. And if it pays 6, it can't trash the Jupe stat. But this is very important that you do get your successful run on the Giordano. It is a very different Y res. So it can't trash our grid. It blank? No, it have text. Wait, what? What am I missing? Taxpayers are the ones that fund the stadiums that some companies just put a brand on it later. Is that actually true? Like it has to pay 6 here, and if it pays 6, it can't trash. Oh yeah, it's not Light the Fire. Yeah, it's Hannah. Yeah, the other red one. Okay, it has to discard. Throws some dogs. Okay, so we have 2 at level gals and 11, so we could just do like red level clearance and hope. It's gonna be running HQ for sure. Supernaut is right. Oh shit, the city usually does a massive bond issue to cover stadiums, and then companies will cover part to get their name on it. Let's hope that we draw into the Elvigao. Sick. Like we can bounce back here. We have ice for Tattoo Bola, so we'll do the Jupestad. Yeah. Yeah. Ah, that feels good when you hit it with core damage. Elvigao to Derez as a spin doctor. Add a card from ice case to HQ. I think we do the double wide DL. We probably should just do the big deal, so we give it a task that it has to deal with. We'll throw out this Jupestad. We can throw out the Ikwa, but I honestly want to keep the Ikwa, and I think we throw out the Rashida because it's a trashable. This is just bullying. This was what the deck was meant to do. Just keep firing PD. We fired it 3 times, and we're not done. We got a little 0/0 Onto we can draw on with red level just to get to that sweet 6. Or we can just big deal out, which is going to take us like 2 turns, unless it goes hard into Tattoo Bola and gives us the ability. But yeah, this is it's a bit of a quagmire. Yeah, hey, no rush. Hey, no worries. So excited for the Grand Canyon presented by Applebee's. I feel like the Grand Canyon more has a Chili's vibe, but I've also haven't seen it. I've only seen representations in media, and it had a really big Chili's vibe. Rohit, how's it going? This is Tron's deck. Card for card as published. PD bullying good, but when you bully with Stego is Jover. Daria, don't even. States regularly subsidize stadiums to the tune of tens or hundreds of millions, mostly in the form of tax breaks, but sometimes in material support, usually infrastructure, in the name of creating jobs. These investments are generally questionable returns-wise, but voters hate teams leaving for another city that will subsidize them. But, like, they still sell Jokic, right? Like, it didn't stop it. Chile's just had a Southwest vibe. I like the Stego deck. I'll be honest, I'll probably end up playing a Stego deck in the near future. But, like, in paper play. Just because in paper play, oh, it's so much more fun. Because you get to actually flip the cards. You got to touch all your cards. And that seems fun. It might still have a deep dive. And if it has a deep dive, do we lose? Probably. If its last card is a deep dive, can it do it? We're in 2 credits. What are we going to do about it? The Amazon Rainforest presented by the Rainforest Cafe. The Amazon Rainforest Cafe. I think it can fire off of a deep dive this turn, but it involves taking a bunch of tags. Yeah, I think it floats tags to deep dive. The problem is it sees 9 cards and there's a salvo in there, so we don't win. Unless we can spin Doctor and draw the salvo. But I'm pretty sure it can, right? Like, this is 2. It has all the breakers it needs, unless it thinks it's a Sentry, but it can't res it. But it basically has to... No, it can't. Because it has to take the Jaguar damage. And then it has a 50-50 on hitting it, right? It's Jai? Where we're going, we don't need to clear tags. Drawing the salvo would be sick. Yeah, but we actually, like, we probably lose. We can't score it. Hey, Fire Breather Ray. Oh, I missed the message. Excuse me. The teams absolutely do not love the cities back. That face. The funny thing is Giordano doesn't stop dive. Nope, it does not. It is still successful. So I think it needs to figure, like, have enough cards in hand. Hannah for a click. Fucking tempo. Love it. Carpe Diem R&D is a 1 in 9 chance for Itchus to win here. Jaguar Rundy has some good text. Can pretend to be crazy. I think a lot of people will miss that interaction, but, like, unfortunately it's not going to come up. It's taking a tag, so let's see if it breaks it for 4. This costs 6. It gets back 2. Oh, do you want a red team? Hey, did you want a red team? Oh, it's Carpe. Never mind. I feel like this point spin might be worth to dilute. Milk it might be. We have to res it. Like, we're going to res the Spin Doctor anyway, so we probably do. But this is our last Spin Doctor, so if we lose the big deal, we lose. The big deal. We don't lose the game. Not necessarily. Yeah, I forgot it was a Carpe Diem. I'm used to seeing the card here. It's strange that Carpe Diem doesn't have the card here. It's like one of the very few run events where the card is not attached to the run arrow. Because, like, if you play Overclock, it shows it here, but technically it doesn't because the way the Carpe Diem is worded. Okay, it broke both in separate instances. It scared me there. Shit, so it's now 1 in 7. We'll make it a 1 in 9. We have 2 big deals, which is good. So we're going to shuffle back into the deck. I want a YDL, and I think I want a red level. 2 YDLs might be correct. It's a 1 in 9 that we lose the game here. There's still 1 Nightmare Archives, which will show up in an interesting way. Just an info bounty. Yeah, it's that text. You may run your mark. It's not a Carpe run. Holy shit, it's doing it. Oh, we're so cooked. Unless the agenda is the bottom of 9. It's going for the deep dive? Hold the phone. Wait, but there's a chance that we hit it with the Jaguarundi. I think it's a 50-50 because it can't have 3 deep dives because we know it's on Hannah. So it could be 1 deep dive in hand. Oh my. Wait, this is hype. You shouldn't have kept them a virus? Wait, why? What? You should have kept? Oh, for damage? Yeah, maybe. Would be ironic if it rips Ikoa. Nah, that never happens. You never win on the deep dive. 50-50. I don't care what happens. No! I do care. Turns out I cared. Get out. Yo, that's incredible. I thought I was cooked. He still could be. Still could be. 1 in 9. No, it's there. GG. It's just core damage. It's pretty fair. You can still win. I don't know what the bottom of the deck is. 3, 4, 5. It's an Elevigao. The last card was an agenda. It wasn't the right agenda. 5 core win. Yeah, that'll get there. There's only 2. There's only 2 salvo in the salvo testing deck. It's really funny. You'd have won if you were Thule? Wait. What? Wait, you didn't want to win? But, huh? Wait. You had the win there. What happened? There was a salvo there. You had it. For sure. Get out. I missed it. Paid act. No, it missed it. It was a 50-50. We can't pay anybody for this stuff. It was in there. It was in there. It's alphabetical. Yeah, there we go. Hey, well fought. Sometimes you need your opponent to like to spur you on. Deep dive is the best win con. That's definitely not the case. It's a very good win con though. It also allows you to ignore the game. And Daojian, specifically the way that I know you play, you're like very axis heavy and not the table. So I think it lines up with your play pattern. Yeah. But it was, yeah. Oh, for sure there. But that was a cool line. I respect that. Taking a coin flip at winning the game is pretty reasonable. Like half the time. I've definitely done that before by mixing up armed intimidation and armed asset protection. Oh, when it just says the names, yeah. On the name log, it's easier to do that for sure. That was a really funny game. Yeah, legit that it found the ending there to figure out how to get out of there. What we could have done, a virus on HQ to do 1 damage is kind of cool. I wonder if we should have just like valued upgrades against a deep dive deck to be like, this will keep you out. Yeah, it gets expensive. And I can win in 2 turns, I think. Thanks for the game. All right, that was fun. How are we doing? It's 10:40. Man, I just like playing core damage PD. It's just kind of fun. And like sometimes like squeezing that sort of core damage in forces your opponents to like really like send it down the paint. And that's always really exciting. Cool game. That was really, really fun. I guess for playing Arissana, maybe I don't like this Arissana deck as much as I hoped I would. Maybe I just need that sort of like ASOS pawn shop engine to feel like I'm doing something. Get those coalescences down. We'll find out. Jinteki PE. Joy. Hey, best of luck. Have fun. All right, this is probably another matchup where we can't play our... Well, not another, but this is probably a matchup where we can't play the deck as much as we would just play hit points. I think there was a list published from like London regionals, which like it would just put things on the table and hope, which like... It's weird how much people really like that game plan, but there was a lot of really like annoying damage PE. Either not this one. The other one was like the bring them home PE, which is just like slam assets on the table PE and then hope that somebody dies to something, which like, yeah, I guess. And then this is basically Seconds Our World kind of PE from Solomon, which is cool. So this is like loud. I think I'm going to have issues playing against either of them because I don't have that sort of focus right now. Got to run a good luck, have fun the rest. Thank you. Try the T-Bolt deck? Yeah, actually, Daojian, we probably do that after that. It's a good idea. That's fine. Hand's fine. It's a phenomenal draw. It's okay. I don't know how aggressive we can be. I think like P doesn't like a doof. Okay, that's a slow start. That's good for us. So what are we doing here? Like Urban doesn't really do much. We can draw up once for sure. Okay. Environmental testing puts us on low credit, so we can do ENV testing to SMC. So we can draw once here for sure. Nuka's really, excuse me, good in the matchup. If we do environmental testing to SMC, we have no way to get our money up, but we have an overclock. This is where it gets a bit tricky. I feel like if we do this, we're very limited in our options. The problem is if we want to get the SMC down, we should get the NV testing down first. So I guess we like do this. This makes me really uncomfortable when we're on 2 credits and not a lot of good ways to get out of it. You want my version of T-Bolt? I've splashed size and tons because I was lazy to optimize and had 6 influence voting. I think we'll probably build our own. Like, I don't want to play vulnerability on it, so I think it's going to have to be different than the one that Daijin's playing. Like if we do Nuka and then we triple draw, there's not actually a lot that we can draw. You can maybe UAV Kyuban and you'll probably get there. Do you think we do UAV run, put the Kyuban? I guess we can draw once for dirty. No, it doesn't work. UAV, yeah, we could put it on HQ. They're probably not going to. Manually, it's not really a difference if we run or not, because I'd run archive. So yeah, you're right. We probably just shouldn't. And then we can use the UAV to set up. So we can use the UAV to install Nuka. If our opponent trashes the ice on HQ, so be it. Yeah, I'll draw. Order's bad there, but results are fine. Yeah, if it trashes the ice on HQ, we're in a bad spot, but did our opponent mull? They kept. So we'll see how much ice they have to deal to use. Because denying us 2 credits here when we're on 0 is actually super important. And now we really need to get the Urban Art Vernissage into the Kyuban to get out of this like lock. Because we gotta click for credits. Imagine just installing a Coalescence and selling to a pawn shop. I've got so Shaper Soft. We got a 0 cost Parasite. I'm not going to complain. Yeah, me neither. But it's not good for us in terms of setting up. But like when you install a Kyuban and they trash, admittedly, res dice, unres dice, yeah, it's not the worst. And that was the ice they put down turn 1, click 1. So either they care about it or okay. All right, Arissana will bring back the Kyuban. Here, I think they've had a while. I think if they have assets, they're going to hit the table. So we can get the Nuka down for safety. The problem is, like, I don't know how to get credits on the sports state. 14 cards, silliest sports game. Hey, droids. The Runner Square. 14 cards on Runner Square. How's that possible? Stall Simulchip. Yeah, and then we can do the Kyuban on the run. This accesses with 3 cards. I think that's relatively safe. But this gives us 9 credits. We want a lily pad in this matchup really bad. It's a snare. Okay. We're not going to trash that. So this is bad. I guess we die to a couple things. We either clear the tag, but we can't. We have to Nuka. So we die to end the line. That's not that common. Them paying 4 for snare is pretty expensive. We found it. Oh, Meridian's still in the format, right? 3 Meridian, 3 Nightmare, 1 Pointers, and a Mad Dash. Just Nuka, yeah. I'm worried. I guess if they trash the Nuka, we're not too upset about it because it is very expensive. If they just like score out a House of Knives or a Sting, okay. House of Knives is really annoying. So now they can't fire Snare, which is good. They can't probably res the ice on HQ. It could be Tithe. Okay. So here, I think we do Nuka. Sometimes you want to keep and not use Nuka because it's a way to like get speed, but our deck has 3 Nukas, I think. So we don't have to be super precious about the Nuka. So we can probably use the Nuka here. Yeah, we're dead if we don't Nuka. It just feels kind of bad. So we can remove tag. We can access with 6 cards in hand. We might take some net damage. If we lose our breakers, we have Simulchip, so it's not huge. So we'll run here. We'll Arissana the Kyuban. We can put the Kyuban on HQ and actually run HQ last click. It's probably okay. I think we're relatively okay into punitive. Okay, they did 1 damage. That's fine. It's a Sting, so we're going to take 2 damage. PE, great, great, great. We lost the overclock and create a commission. That's not good. So now it's a bit risky to run HQ because we have to always access with 3 cards in case it's Fuji into PE. So that's a good draw. Just credits. So this could be anything here. We know this is, what's it called? So we can just continue to set up. Lily pad off the D's will be amazing. No. We might actually not sure gamble in this matchup. It doesn't seem like they're on assets. It seems like they're like maybe on a loud deck. So let's just install the cards that we need. So let's just get the Echelon down so we can technically face check. We'll get the Nuka down because it's free. And then I think we can install the Kyuban going down to 3 cards. Again, if they trash the ice on a Q, so be it. So this is a click for 2 credits. UAV is probably all the econ you need in this matchup. We still need to break stuff because the UAV is only installables and we're going to have to break ice. Like they probably have a Nancy and Vampire Nasa and stuff like that. So not exactly, but almost. But we're going to try not to play the sure gamble. Okay. So it clicked for credits last turn just to get the hedge fund. Makes sense. So funny CP at Top Table Worlds 2014. Yeah, that was Min, right? Mind you, that's the person who made JNet. There's our breaker. That's fine. And then a card on this table. So we have to at least access with 4 cards. So we'll start with the Nuka. All right, Lilypad's good. I think we can let this card go. Lilypad, Kyuban means now we can draw mid-run. I think accessing with 3 is fine. If it's a snare, I don't think we mind that much. Could just be a spin doctor. NV testing is going to be good. Okay, so this is actually damage. Reaper function. Okay, so there is some sort of assets. I think we should click for a credit here. We have Nuka next turn. We don't want to Nuka and discard for obvious reasons. We've got Lily Pad to fire. Yeah, so they aren't going to be on assets. So Reaper function, wage workers. I'm assuming this actually might be this list. It might just be this list. No, it's not. Yeah, it could be, could be. This one actually needs like a pre-show. We don't have a pre-show, which is also like a strange thing. As I think like every Shaper deck we've seen in the modern meta has run at least one pre-show. But this one, not so much. Okay. So environmental testing is pretty good. And then we can still do the Kyuban thing and draw a card until our opponent gets tired and deletes more ice. But we're already halfway through our deck and we only have 1 point. Like, this is absolutely frightening. I don't think we need to do Nuka here. I think we just do draw credit. Sorry, draw credit. And just every turn get 2 credits and closer to environmental testing. The thing is, like, they're in control of the game and they're going to put whatever they want on the table and we're just going to have to run it. We don't have to do anything too wild because if this is the list I think it is, I don't think it's on Regenesis, which means it actually can't get to 7 quickly. So it's going to grind us out. So we're going to try and install as few cards as possible. Not trashing our Kyuban is good. They definitely have points in hand. We've only seen 2 so far and now we're playing Glacier. Oh no. When did the preview start flowing? Ed, we don't know. The set comes out at the end of March. So we're assuming March. Maybe the end of February, but I'm pretty sure it's just going to be March. They kept this card, right? So they probably want it. I think we just install the Simon chip and click for credits. Oh, sorry, April. You're right. They delayed it. Fuck. It's coming out end of April, beginning of May. So I would say April. Sorry. I don't think we're going to see it in March. I forgot they delayed it. Hybrid release? Just from hand? Oh, hold on. Oh, just careful. Oh, just careful. Oh, just heads up. You'll need to check if you're going to fast advance. Yeah, we don't have Clot, but like if your opponent is Shaper and has simul chips, let alone an SMC on the table, you need to check. You can't just like jam out an agenda. I'm assuming your opponent read that. I shall on turbines enough full rig here. I'm worried about Vampirnasa. I'm surprised to see this deck on MV testing instead of like daily casts. Yeah, maybe. It's not on a Muse, and I think Muse is like one of the nicest ways to do NV testing as fast. But I am a cast fan, that's for sure. Oof, we're gonna on Euler. We're gonna have to break Vampirnasa for 4 credits. Feels bad. Like, I just don't want to play these cards. We're gonna get. I think we play our Propeller just because we have to deal with Tattoo Bolas. Cleaver is fine. We have 20 cards left. We can draw once. We can install the Propeller. It's fine. Muse feels like a big enabler of NV testing. I agree. I feel like I'm not used to playing this sort of deck like this. I'm so much used to like the cards from the latter half of Liberation. All right, so card got trashed. This is the first Spin Doctor we've seen. On 9 credits, we're pretty sure they're on Anemone. They discarded 2 cards, so I think we can run the Spin Doctor here, no problem. Draw a card. We just have to watch out. We're going to mill ourselves. Oh, sorry, Arissana. Did we install the DZ Meezy? I don't think we installed the DZ. But like, we have to install something here. Like, who's going to flinch first? Who's going to make the bad run? I think with 6 cards in hand, we can run HQ here. We either produce a turbine and a simul chip into the other one. Time to start poking, yeah, I guess. It's a shame after the Spin Doctor. Overclock to install stuff. I think I might just keep this for hit points. I think if we overclock, it just doesn't res. Yeah, I'm worried that our opponent just won't res if we overclock. So the most damage we can take here is Anemone into House of Knives into Fuji, which is like 6 damage. Cool. We haven't seen any prana condensers, no further. Okay, so this one they've been keeping around, and if they don't res it, it's an enemy. Great. DZ into optimize, so we can not flatline here. But in theory, we can go down to low cards. That's why we have Nuka. There's 5 Iceland Centrals already. We might be able to win and keep them poor. So if we commit to Axis, they can still House of Knives. Okay, that's good. So we know they're on Regenesis. I think we've done enough damage. We don't want to run last click. So I'm just going to do draw. I'm not going to use the Nuka. We're going to keep Nuka for panic. We don't have to be quick. We just have to not die. So we found the enemy. They probably will trash it. That makes sense that they didn't want to trash that ice because it's guaranteed 2 damage, not grinder. We actually could transition to a conduit, and it wouldn't be unreasonable, and just take like little chips on R&D every turn. Like not C3 or 4 immediately, but we have to watch out for stinks and stuff like that. Upgrade on HQ. What do you think it is? Do you think it's Wanza? Or you think it's just like Hokusai? Daniela? I actually don't know what that would be. Chrysium? Maybe a Daniela. Issues if we run to like we draw a card. Is my curiosity going to get hold of this ice? Yeah, I think we are going to run this. I don't know what this is. Hokusai maybe? I think if it's Daniela, we could just don't do anything. I'm not convinced Daniela is better than Hokusai. Lilypad is Amanda though? No, Lilypad's optional. Second enemy. Okay, not grinder. Oh, we lost her in our thing. That's a bummer. So I think we jack out here. Hokusai probably, yeah. We can nuke it to be super safe if you want to play around Wanza. I want to play about Wanza by just never running Wanza in my life. Healthy. I'll pull up the conduit. Not grinder. This might be grinder. Oh, it's fucking grinder. Oh god, why is it grinder? Man, people get excited about this card. It is just the worst. Every card I'm gonna trade for your cards. It's just like I shouldn't have played the game. Slaps in this list? No. We just lost 6 hit points. Thanks, Amor. Oh, conduit's in the bin. Oh, hold on, sorry. This is hard to fix. Yeah, we should slam conduit though with the other one. Excuse me. I'll just run back. Yeah, I don't know. This is just like the worst Netrunner design to me. This is Katara. That's kind of surprising. I haven't seen Aimer since Obokata. It's a JNet like casual. This seems like it's, you know, what is it called? Tone flag derogatory. But like a lot of folks like this thing because it's just like, oh, I'm gonna make you run out of cards. Yeah, this makes you run out of cards. So I guess we still have to SMC for something because then we have to simulchip back. What are we SMCing for? We lost Doof. Like we just lost random cards. Like losing random cards from the top of your deck is just so tilting. It's like you don't make any good decisions. It's just like top cards of your deck are gone. It's like, what do you want me to do about that? You could get Physarum that. It's not a code gate, and it's not a. Oh, you're right. If it's not a barrier, you can Physarum it. Oh yeah, that actually probably would be right, and then we could do it. Unfortunately, we let it fire. But yeah, I keep thinking that Physarum's for code gates and sentries. It's not. It's for non-barriers. So I think we just trash the SMC and go get a conduit. Otherwise, we would get a turbine. Actually, no, that's probably right too. Oh fuck. Whatever. I don't care. We've messed this up too many times. We should have got a turbine there. Oh, okay, never mind. They have my number. Just, yeah, this is the Jaina casual. This is the Jaina casual special. Okay. I mean, I don't think we care. Running last click's a bit risky. I don't care. I'm just gonna full send at this point. Okay. Maganga, again, more just random damage off the top. 2 net damage. We don't have a punitive, but we're on game point. So they have a Maganga. That's great. That's probably a Maganga. I don't think we conduit. I think we run for a single. So if we install the SMC, we draw. Now we'll just run this. Will we conduit? Yeah, F it. Let's conduit. Let's believe in ourselves. We can Fizzarum it, yes, but we have to simulchip trash one of our cards. So we have to like Arissana from hand and then trash one of them because our Fizzarum's in the bin. It's in the bin. So then we have to Arissana for the SMC, I think. Not drawing a card. Oh no, we should draw a card. Sorry, I'll draw with Lily. Yeah, it's for safety. And then we'll simulchip for this, for the Fizzarum on here, and then we'll bypass it. You don't run into the decks like this too much on JNet. I feel like it's been a minute. I don't know how much damage that does. Okay, good game. Good game. They leave. Oh man. That is like oh, there's such a weird overlap between people who leave without saying GG and people who play this sort of deck. And I know it's probably against the terms of JNet to I don't know. It's weird that there's this like very strange overlap of people who like the sort of like random damage decks and hope you run out of points and then also get upset when you imp them. It's a very funny overlap. Oh man. All right, sorry, we got salty there. That brought the worst out from all of us. From me for sure. Anyways, sorry about that. Yeah, Saraswati is a bit different because like you have a game plan. Admittedly, your game plan is like traps on the table or like NAPD Cordon. NAPD Cordon is a cool card, that's for sure. I don't feel like I mind it that much. Yeah, apologies if we're getting a bit out of line, but a little salt is good with a meal. I think I have high blood pressure, y'all. I think I have to just get this sorted out. I feel like every time I put on the blood pressure cuff, I get stressed. And I feel like it's registering that. It's like when they say like, oh, that dog consents if you're afraid. And then suddenly you're afraid because they told you that. Let's try and build the Thunderbolt deck really quick. It's 11 o'clock though. Man, we have to speed run this. We're not going to do a good job, Diogen. Okay, we're going to build a Thunderbolt deck because we've been talking about it. I like Thunderbolt. It's kind of fun. I don't like the math on it. I think the math is the least fun part of it. I don't think making your ice good is good in the modern meta is like a first order optimal strategy, but like we're trying to Thunderbolt. What has worked in Thunderbolt for me? Let's see. Saraswati's at least goes for, yeah, it does. Take mine and test. No, but yours has like cards I refuse to play, like Vulnerability Audit. I don't want it. No, thank you. No, they should get rid of that card. Do you know what they should do to Vulnerability Audit? They should just get rid of keep this text, take out the influence, maybe keep the influence and just give the text, this is installed face up. And then like the text will make sense. People will be happy when they lose to it because they see it coming. It's like the perfect play. Just make this a public agenda. That's all you need to do. Make a neutral public agenda. So when you put this on the table, people realize they're going to lose. That's all you have to do. Can we make a Lightning Labs deck? Maybe. The problem is like this is going to be an Onto deck. Not an Onto, wow. Sorry, a Stegodon deck. It's going to be a Stegodon deck. And I think you have to be a Stegodon. SSO fans, rabid anticipation. Into the custom it goes. So Stegodon is probably necessary because the Thunderbolt only has power when it's rezzing its ice. Otherwise, it's useless. So unfortunately, you need a Stegodon. Stegodon is also good because people are a bit apprehensive face checking into Thunderbolt because Thunderbolt just says, don't face check my ice because it's going to be frightening. And then that is not great, right? Losing to Vulnerability Audit is no different than Seamless Link of 5-3. Yeah, but then they need 2 Seamlesses and you have a better read. And the thing is like that 5-3, 4-3 Seamless Vulnerability happens in like weird decks out of nowhere. It's just, I don't know. I don't think it feels good. I don't think it's a great way to lose a game in Netrunner to be like, oh yeah, there's a 4-3 in the game and I'm playing it. I don't know. It's a weird sticking point. So we have AP or Destroyer Ice that gets +1 strength on this like weird soft and the run subroutine. So that's kind of cool. Thunderbolt and Lightning, very, very frightening. So let's play some Stegodons. Now we have to figure out what the rest of the deck is. We don't have money. This deck is not a financial money deck. So we're probably going to have some money in this. So I think we're going to end up playing Off-World Office because we need to. And then at this point, because we're running odd amounts of Stegodons, we're probably going to run an odd amount of 3-pointers. The issue is that we don't want to score any of the 3-pointers, but that's okay. We can probably set up some weird mid-range board state and then score out from there. So I think we're incentivized to look at 3 copies of, what's it called? The big one, Iqua Project. And that takes us to 18. I've been thinking about vegan Thunderbolt. Just rely on the fear runners have to rush out behind Toothless Ice. It's going to be terrible. One day I'll try it. Has anything been done with Nuvang? Yeah, people have played Nuvang decks. It doesn't feel like it does anything uniquely that other Waylands can't do. The thing is, like, Wayland ID abilities are very, very powerful. And so giving yourself 2 credits a turn sometimes with actual upside, or sorry, actual downside, and an inconsistent 50+ card deck is really hard to compete with everything else. That's what we've seen so far. Now, I think if you played some like utility, universal influence, like universal, or I mean neutral Wayland operations, like if you had a red level clearance in Wayland, yeah, Nuvang looks a lot better. There's a chance that Sokka's champ card key performance indicators will make Nuvang a bit better as well, because you just need ways to make it fire consistently. I don't think we're going to see more expendable cards, which is a shame, because none of the expendable cards seem like they have obvious synergy in Nuvang. This puts it on 18, so we could put a Vitruvius. I think we have to play a Lightning Laboratory because of what it says. Mindscaping is really fun. Yeah, I guess so. Okay, let's look at the Ice Suite. So we want to look at the Destroyers and the AP. So unfortunately, there's some weird false positives here, I think. So Destroyers, Oncel's pretty good. I don't love Oncel because it's not a card you want in your opening hand because it's both expensive, but a 5 strength Oncel with 4 subroutines is pretty mean, so we'll play that. What else is really good? Hagen, I think is just a good ice, and it coming in at higher strength is nice. It's pretty good in the modern meta, so we can easily play 2 of these. This also has a hard end the run, and that's a kind of a problem, is that Destroyers and APs don't inherently end the run as much as technically you get an on the run subroutine when cards are res, so that's good. So we'll play 2 of those. I think Hammer is nice, but it's kind of in the on-sell space, so that is whatever. I don't think I want to play a 2 strength or 1 strength Roto Turret. They're already worried about Destroyer, so we don't have to play like the de facto cheap Destroyer that people can break. I'm not big on Sarakamben Blade because I don't think it does much, if anything. We'll figure it out. And then Stavka. I think Stavka is really good. Mind you, we're going to be playing some Derez synergy, so Stavka becomes in at 8 strength whenever we want it. I think that's fantastic, so we will play Stavka. I think this is actually one of the best Thunderbolt cards, and this is maybe why people are a bit apprehensive to face check. I don't think I want to play 3 because, again, it's a positional ice. It's only as good as whatever we have behind it, so I don't want to have too many copies of Stavka. Maybe we should. I don't think we do. And then everything else is kind of rough. Like, Tier is too much money, and making Tier 8 strength versus 7 strength actually has very little implication on the break cost of Tier. Giving Tier a 4th subroutine again, I don't think it's a huge deal. People don't usually click through Tier, so I don't know. Anansi is cool. I'd rather not, like, I don't know if I want to spend 8 credits on an Anansi because it's good for 1 turn. This is the biggest issue with Thunderbolt. It's like having an HB deck that scores on a remote server and your ice is Anansi. Like, this has no synergy with your game plan. It's cool if it's on R&D because it protects R&D, but like this doesn't do anything for your game plan. It's like why we don't see Anansis in normal HB. Like, I don't think I don't think the difference of why we don't see Anansi in PD or not see Anansi in PD is because it's 5 versus 6 strength, if you know what I mean. Let alone they'll probably expect this. I do think there's other cool things, like Botu is okay. Giving it another subroutine is something, but even then, like, people are ready to break bronze. Why wouldn't they break the Botu? I don't know. How do you find about Vovo and Lycian? I don't like Lycian at all. I think Vovo will end up playing because I think we're going to end up playing a Brasilia government grid deck. But Lycian, I've just played this and it had such a bad time. It is positional, it's situational. A lot of times, one of the worst things you can actually do with Stegodon is play Lycian. Because Stegodon needs a thorough, like, Stegodon needs rezzed cards. Because for Stegodon to fire, you need to derez a card on a different server. And the problem with Lycian is it's never the rezzed card on a different server because it always derezes itself. It is wild how anti-synergistic Lycian is with Stegodon. It is kind of super upsetting. It's funny pushing MC is protected by ganked Anansis. Yeah, I'm also probably not going to play ganked because I feel like it feels bad. If you want to play Stegodon, you should probably play Tucana. I think Tucana is really neat too. I think Tucana is a very good card with Stegodon because it gets other cards rezzed. And that's one of the biggest problems with Stegodon is that you can't control where your rezzed ice is. Like, Stegodon unfortunately gives your opponent a lot of ways to play around you. And the problem is, like, playing around Stegodon is usually like tunneling one server and not interacting. It's like, this encourages so much of the worst. Brasilia Vova, yes. That is going to change. I think those are going to like really incentivize the rest of our ice, as we're going to be playing Brasilia and we're going to play Vovo. And I think Brasilia is the big thing that we're talking about locally. Now, really quickly, we go to S to AP. I think there's some good choices here. So some of the AP ice that's worth looking at, right? Like, the thing is, an enemy, we have no synergy with how many cards are in the runner's hand. So I don't care about this sort of stuff inherently. You can play I know Daijin is playing Diviner. I don't think I like Diviner that much. Sometimes it ends the run, doesn't make me want to spend 2 influence on it as much as it comes in at 4 strength and has a technical end the run after it. Whatever, that's fine. I think the ones that I really want to play, and mind you, there's some false positives here because AP includes Trap, because Trap says the word AP in it. The other card that I definitely want to play is Tithe. Tithe is just so damn cheap. It's easy to res. It comes in at 2 strength. It reses for free and it has that extra end the run subroutine. This thing is just an absolute darling in this deck, and it's really cheap to res or derez, so you like to do it. And then the rest of the ice we're probably going to play aren't going to fire Thunderbolt. And I think this is the issue, is I don't think you can get that much better of an ice suite unless you're probably playing Bloop and like some of the harmonics, and only Bloop is the only harmonic that works with Thunderbolt. But like you end up being like, okay, we have 9 ice that works with Thunderbolt, we have 6 that don't, and then we're still not playing Precision Design. I'm on Tattoo Afron. Yeah, so Tattoo is really cool, and we'll talk about Tattoo being cool. We need an end the run. It's also nice that can be rezzed and or derezed, which matters for Brasilia. Might be a bit anti-synergistic with Stegodon, but that's kind of nice. And then Daria was suggesting Afron, and I never considered this, but if we have a deck that can consistently derez your own cards by playing things like Stegodon or Brasilia, Afron actually is kind of cool. Now, I don't think I'd play 2. Maybe I'll play 1. I definitely won't play 3 because it doesn't actually work in your opening hand that well. And it is expensive. Like, it does take a card out of your hand. But Afron is kind of cool. It's not as cool as it is in, like, Op, where you res it in response to another ice being rezzed somehow. It's just like a kind of a border control, which, like, maybe that's not worth it. I don't know. Going full Byroid plus Warden plus Trieste is something to explore. And, like, you probably should just be playing any other identity there, right? I feel like there's 2 to 3 identities that will do that better. Harmonic Tucana Stegodon PD cause Thunderbolt is mega ass. I think, Tron, that's what the unfortunate like conclusion to this is that I'm already biased towards, is that this deck would be probably straight up better in any other identity. So, but we're not going to say that. We're going to like try and do as much as we can with this as much as we can. Okay, we'll get back to the ice suite. The big thing we want to build around, and this is what we were talking about on Discord, is Brasilia Government Grid, which is technically a powerful effect. The worst part about Brasilia is this text limit 1 region per server, because HB has some really good regions. And specifically, a Tranquility Home Grid is such a powerful economic card, and we need it more than anyone because we're not playing an economic identity, and we can't play it if we're playing this. So that is obviously a huge downside. Whenever you res a piece of ice during a run against the server, you may derez another installed piece of ice. If you do, the res dice gets +3. So this is technically also works with Stegodon, because Stegodon doesn't care how the ice was derezed. As long as ice was derezed, it has that lingering effect. So this is interesting. We're going to play 3 of them just to see it. It's probably not right because we don't need 3, but this means we can derez our stuff. The other card we want to play is Vovo, because we're going to be rezzing our stuff. We might as well be rezzing that stuff for free and derezing our stuff. So Tattoo Bola just becomes the economy card. That's pretty great. Hakarl helps you derez at least. Yes, but Hakarl doesn't do anything. Like, this is the hardest thing, is that I am very much against subroutines that don't matter. This core damage subroutine, it's annoying for the runner, but it has no inherent synergy with our game plan, which means we're paying 5 credits for what probably is just an Eli. It derezes your other stuff, that's for sure, but like, why does this deck care about core damage? I don't believe in tempo core damage, right? That's the issue, is that there's a lot of like weird ice that doesn't make a lot of sense unless core damage is part of your game plan, which maybe then you play Ontological Thunderbolt. I don't know, maybe you do. But I don't like playing the premium where we're like, we could just play Eli, and it's honestly just as good, maybe, if not better. It's more expensive and not to break. Should have been to bed an hour ago, but maybe it just shows shy of halfway through the video. So if Andre spends 4 more hours in Crash Base, I'll probably be able to finish the video. Oh, Jeff, I'll see you on a Sunday morning or something. Who doesn't, who knows? Maybe the video will never come out. Okay, Jeff, I promise you I'll be up on the Crash Space. An enemy reses core damage though? Yeah, but like, will it flatline? I don't know. Let's play 3 Vovo. Other cards are worth looking at, because now we're rezzing and derezing consistently. Gatekeeper, sick. Gatekeeper coming in, being res 9 strength, derezing it is fantastic. We want to do that. I think a magnet is probably worth something. Now the issue is we have no really big ice. We probably still want to play Brawn. Let's play Botu though, because it is Botu, and then we feel like we're doing something cool with Thunderbolt. We're definitely going to want our Spin Doctors because they're good. And I don't know what else to do at this point. Like, we have 2 influence left over. We can play another Botu. I don't understand Tattoo and Stego decks. You're replacing it with unrezzed ice. Yes, it just gives you more triggers to fire Brasilia, because I think that's the issue I found out with Brasilia, is once Brasilia is on the server and all your ice is rezzed, nothing happens. Now, maybe that's the case that like, okay, well then you'll derez it off something else, but I think that's something I'm going to test. There's a chance it's straight nonsense. I hear you on that, but I think that the problem with the Brasilia is you need this balance of unrezzed dice and res dice. Play Divert Power, but Divert Power turns off Thunderbolt. Like, that's another issue. Divert Power reses your ice on their turn, so it doesn't do anything. Right? Like, you're just not Thunderbolting. Divert Power just reses a bunch of derezes cards to re-res other cards, or res cards. All right, let's get some staples in here. Hedge Fund, Rashida. We're going to play Seamless Launch because we need to score out. We don't have enough money, so I think we're going to have some road-bearing Regoliths. I want some amount of Mana Garms just to have defensive remote servers. Currently, we have 7 + 5 + 9. We have 16 ice. That's probably okay. Resibron, though? Yeah, but then, like, again, why are we Thunderbolting? Maybe it's like you have to come to a point where you're only going to Thunderbolt some of the time, but it's just like, man, feels bad identity. Okay, I guess we can have some influence on something cool. We need to stream for 4 hours for Jeff's sake. I told Maddie I'd end the stream relatively early. I'm scared. Tier is a treat. I don't think either we can afford tier and or this being 8 strength is relevant. Also send a message with non-bow with Thunderbolt. Yeah, there's a lot of weird non-bows with Thunderbolt. 1 bow to 1 ablative shape it. Oh, ablative is not bad. Ablative is almost never bad. Yeah, cool. We can't afford a tier. And then even if we res a tier, the card that's actually interesting is Rhyme, because Rhyme is the cheapest Derez on Brasilia, and you can res it at any paid ability window. I actually think Rhyme is worth something. Are there other cards that we can do that make Rhyme better? How are we feeling about Ganked? Feeling about it, I think it works with this deck because we play mean subroutines. The problem is I just don't like the play space Ganked creates. I think it is just a nasty play space. The fact that this ambush costs nothing to fire, it blows out games that people just touch cards because they should be touching cards. It's like nobody makes good decisions into Ganked, so I don't think it produces good games. I think this is the sort of card that if I was comfortable playing it, it would only be an open deck list. I feel like this is just a bummer of a card to play on JNet, casual closed deck lists. Hear me out on Smiling Sarevna? It's not the worst one, Swede. The issue is, though, again, we don't care about some of these subroutines. But that's not terrible. This card's worth resing and de-resing sometimes. Traffic Analyzers theoretically work for this deck. You're right, we get the credit on the trace too. Why does Rhyme have that text anyways? Which text exactly? That you can res it? Just so that this matters. It has this matter. This text is because it's a GameNet support piece, but this text is just so that you can always, so it's just so that you can like not res it and then surprise res it when they encounter another piece of ice and they're like credit perfect. JNet does have support for open decklist now. Yeah, it does, but I don't know how often, like if that makes it more or less approachable. The problem is like, is Rhyme good with any of this ice? Like Rhyme Tithe is nonsense. Let's play 1 Rhyme because it's fun. 2 influence. How do we get money in our deck for 2 influence? Or like a gross upgrade or something, but not ganked. But somehow not ganked. YDL's 2 influence? Yeah, but YDL's not good unless you're PD or you have like Midnight 3, I don't think. Cyber Sand? Oh no. Dario. Oh, we can only try some weird stuff. We can't go that weird. I think every deck I play with Cyber Sand, I've immediately regretted it. This thing is not great. We use credits being a Bladderwort and enemy grinder. Like maybe we do play Anemone and become an enemy grinder. Like Ping is actually probably a bit better than Sarievna. It's just like annoying. It's just annoying. Like deresing a Ping, just painful. YDL synergistic with Rashida. Rashida's synergistic with every corp. Pop-up window works too. Yeah, I love that. But the problem is like people don't run against Thunderbolt. But that's like a nice Rhyme type effect, like just a little cheap ice. Halfron's not bad. Yeah, Halfron's not terrible. But I think we have a money issue. Carmen breaks it for 5 on the turn. It's res better than Drafter. NGO Front's worth adding. Yeah, I think actually NGO Front is good, but if we're on 3 Seamless, NGO gets a bit strange. Brasilia Pink R Plus is kind of cursed. Yeah, I'm worried that there's some like Brasilia ablative R Plus deck at some point. Well, if Andre goes from complaining about Grinder to playing it, Helheim servers is fun. Yeah, I guess. But then like, why are we playing Brasilia? We can always just like pump the strength of our ice. Vovo's on every server. Vovo, you can't. He's unique. You can only have 1 Vovo. There has to be a good way to play. Do we just play a diviner and say whatever? Is that what we're going to do? 1 diviner? Cut a card? Play Isaac? I'll just play your Digital Life. We need money. I don't think we're going to be upset to see this. So we have to cut a card. It's like probably a Brasilia because you don't want this on turn 1. But if we don't draw this, the deck, yeah, we'll cut a Brasilia, unfortunately. Because you don't want it in turn 1. It's not an opening hand card. It's like a mid-game card. Brasilia, Bolt. A chicken in every pot and Vovo on every server. Vote Andre. What's the chicken doing in there? Oh, you're eating it. Don't we want a Subliminal? Oh, Subliminal's a really good shout out because I don't think they should be running every turn. Yeah, Subliminal's not bad. Whatever. We'll do this. We'll try and keep in mind how many turns our opponent doesn't run and then like have some really bad data because if we had a Subliminal, they'd run every turn. But you know what I mean? Let's just call it Tybalt. Armaments is a good name. Peace Through Power, also really good subtitle. But everything else, hard sell. Why is the chicken on pot? It's just chilling, man. Just relaxing. Isla. Okay, this could either be the bad one, which is like Rosetta 2.0, or it could be Infinite Earthrise Hotel. Either way, that's pretty funny. Good hand, honestly. Sick hand. Hey, hey, howdy. How's it going? Will we replace our president if he wants? Andre Ken? I would. I think it's probably like I'm super underqualified, but I probably wouldn't do all the bad stuff that's happening. Best of luck. Have fun. Have luck. Have fun. How are your games for Sunday? We got good watchings. Tron is one of the Super League players. So Bodo Remoto, pretty good. I don't care about Centrals. Burner me, I don't care. This week isn't hype. I'm gonna be real with you. The fuck? The heck, man? This is live. People read this. Tron, what the hell, man? You can't say that. 150 card. Yeah, Tron's playing this. I think it's like 115 card blue, and it was just so cool to watch last week. Hey, Eric, we only take the most qualified presidents. I've heard real shit from other people. Okay, good. You gotta tune in. No, it will be good. It was good last week. I'm really excited. Shout out for those. Again, I'll just plug some things really quickly. Eternal Super League. We're streaming this on Sunday. It's been really fun. And also, I set up a second channel, the Crash Space Metropole Grid. You can find it at Crash Space Grid. Tune in. This will be a channel we use to stream non-Netrunner stuff casually, which is a nice thing to have. Get familiar with my 125 woo before it grows 3 sizes in 4 weeks. Line goes up. As evidence. Eric, how you doing? You feeling better? How's your coffee sitch? Watch ESL live on Sunday, 7 p.m. UTC. There you go. Nice. All right, this is Isla. Isla gets to draw some cards at the beginning of the game and then tuck 4 of them kind of away. It looks like 2 of them we wanted. Yeah, that's fine. This is what we were saying was totally fine, and it is, because it is. Value hand. We're going to lose the tithe. We're going to put a hedge fund on top. Hedge funds on bottom? Oh, Tehran. If only I didn't have a load to bear. Deep dive in the bin. Could have dove me turn 1. I feel like every game we play, there's an early game regolith that someone is upset about. Yeah, this comes up so often whenever we play. So it's either Hagen on R&D, which is like fine. Mind you, deep dive is really interesting because the turn that you're deep diving, our text actually matters. Let's just get something in there. Well, all our points are in there, right? Eric has provided proof of life. Feeling significantly better, just in time for my wife to get a fever. No! Patient 0. Sorry, Eric. I hope everyone's feeling better soon. Regolith might be top 3 getaway cards by strength. This card has like really ludicrous numbers. The more you think about it, like 15 credits on a neutral econ card. Come on now. Solon Taboto is a good server, I think. So let's just do nothing and then top deck a Stegodon and see how cursed the game is. We can do like Regolith, Stegodon. Probably pushed up by Spin Doctor. Well, yeah, but like this doesn't do what Spin Doctor does. Every deck wants 15 credits. Drop that link to the Crash Space. I can't find it using Google. Yeah, you actually have to search like the @Crash Space. If you search this, it comes in, but let me throw it in here. Where are we at? We're here. You should put your chest space in your other channel sections. Yes, I will. I just set it up today. Oh. I mean, it'd be nice to get like, imagine when we score this, we got our best card from archives back. It'd be kind of nice, I think. But it's okay. We'll get a little bigger on sell. We'll just get a big on sell. A lightning lab there would actually be pretty good. Yeah, all parts of the crash space where like I'm gonna put this together today. I'm gonna put minimal effort into it because I just want a place that I can just do whatever and not care. You know, Boda doesn't end the run there. Yeah, you're right. It doesn't. But Tron doesn't know. It does end the run because you have to trash one of your installed cards. Strike Fund. I wonder what that means. Strike Fund and Steel Skin. Is this we're just playing Arkham, so we're playing every event? It's common ready. It's Bobo Izzetti. It's just like people don't run into Thunderbolt. It is so boring. And then by the time they run, they have the whole Doom rig. First Crim Shape. Okay, never mind. We're running. We are running. Vova Izzetti. On sell. 4 subroutines. You don't have that many clicks, Tron. You gotta make decisions. 5 strength. Extra subroutine says trash to coalescence. So like, that's good. Are you worried it's a ganked? Click, 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 fire all. Runners deciding to trash the coalescence. Deeper down the server we go. It's a Botu. I got a card in hand. So far, we hit a breakpoint. So far, Thunderbolt has cost 2 extra credits. So that's kind of cool. 2 extra credits here. So bad. Probably induce a run if you were playing Quinda, but then you'd be kind of Quinda. Yeah. Well, I've enjoyed Quinda decks. All right. So Thunderbolt hasn't mattered so far. Server has been sussed out. Oh, fuck. Two simulchips are out, though. That's kind of good for us. He's got this I don't believe, nor will I ever believe in this ID voice. Like, you can see it. We're doing it live together. I'm just making sure the media literacy is on. Oh, Turbine. That's not good. What does this do? Whenever a run begins, you may remove a hosted agenda counter. It only gets 1. To res up to 2 pieces of ice protecting the attacked server. Ignore all costs. When the turn ends, derez 2 pieces of the ice protecting the server. So it doesn't do anything. How is this the Sisyphus for HB? He has to be on Ashen? Yeah, I believe he is. I think he's going to rip through his deck as fast as possible. For what it's worth, I want to play Shaper deck that's on, like, on every single self-destruction card and then just plays like 2 Ashen and says, I don't care. I will set up with Turbine on turn 3. And like, we're getting there. I mean, that was good. But do we just win here? Does Tron just not have a Sentry Breaker? Does Tron just not have a Sentry Breaker and 8 strength Stavka does it? You can res the Stavka to trash Vovo. Imagine saving 2 credits on the Stavka and it just eats you. Fitting. Alright, it's an Ikawa. I don't know what this does. We can choose to res the Stavka for free. It's going to be expensive, yeah. It needs to be like overclock as well. We lightning lab the Stavka at the start, right? No, because it dereses ice. Hold on, what does this do? Whenever a run begins, you may remove a hosted agenda counter, res up to 2 pieces of ice. When this turn ends, derez 2 pieces of ice protecting that server. No matter what, if we use the lightning laboratory, we have to derez a 6 cost ice. Am I reading that correctly? If I use a lightning laboratory, I have to derez an on cell. It actually nets derezes. I guess we win. That's what the rhyme is for, you didn't draw for. But what is this? Thunderbolt didn't matter. We could have just played the worst PD game ever. No, I'm not using your text. Bye. No, I'm not. Refuse. The text is bad. This is fine. It was a 2 credit res. I'm not lighting laboratory for 2 credits. I know we win, but like I don't want to influence the JNet stats and encourage them. What if we got money for every ice we res and deresed? Yeah. Yeah, Cyber Sand. Thunderbolt text costs an additional 4 credits on a turbine echelon. The breakpoint for this did matter. It did cost an extra 3 credits. I mean, yeah, that was technically a Netrunner game. Yeah. Pretty straightforward and fair, I guess. How many Ashen? Working prototype? No. Regolith. Why do you don't have time for prototype? We just gotta keep jamming. This is a Stegodon deck, mind you. You said you wanted a quick one? Yeah, honestly, like, unfortunately, we probably have to call a stream here. I promised Maddie that I wouldn't be late tonight. She has to wake up early. Bummer. Stuff against SK mattered there? Not really. It was one of these, but yeah, kind of. Cool. Super cool. I really want to try Hyper Greedy Shaper with Lago 3 for the price and just multiple Ashen. Not care. How many times did ID trigger? Technically 3 times. I think the on-sell didn't matter because it trashed the Coalescence. The boat 2 didn't matter because it ended the run. The Stavka didn't matter because we won the game. So it fired on these 3 ice each once, and none of them mattered. So that's like not good. And the thing is, like, Tron is racing to a board state where a text doesn't matter. That's another big issue with Thunderbolt, right? Like, imagine you're playing a lat deck that's playing 2 turbines. It just basically says you don't have ID text. And that's such a bad spot to be in, not having ID text. It mattered because it prevented early runs? I don't think so. I think these face checks are equivalent if this was like a drafter or a gatekeeper. Like, I don't think Tron had an incentive to run here or run centrals. Like, Tron was just setting up. Yeah, probably. Maybe no Lago and just Strike Fund. Just Steel Skin. More tempo. I'm not sure. But like, this was a really quick game, so it was hard to get a read. Like, Tron was just trying to set up as fast as possible because I think Tron realizes, like, if I don't get Turbine down, I'm cooked. I'm on Echelon. But yeah, it had no impact on the game. It's not good. Despondent. Look into Horizon. This ID is awful. The runner doesn't have to do anything anyway. I think I want tag. No, but like, there's just separate things. You can win the game and then you can look back and be like, whoa, this decision in our deck building was bad. Or like, I know what you mean. It's funny, but like, I'd rather play PD there. Yeah. 2 turbine. How's it going, by the way? I got home from D&D. Can I pick your brain on a comment for like 20 minutes ago? Yes, SRN. How's your D&D? Yeah, shoot. We have a bit of time. We'll hang out for like maybe 10 minutes before we slow down. This ID makes tithe matter. Does it? Does the echelon break the tithe for 1 more credit? If your ID ability is echelon, tithe breaks echelon for 1 more credit sometimes? That's a hard sell, isn't it? Sometimes for 1 more credit. Right? Kind of rough. Tithe is really cool though. Like, I admit, like, Tithe is like one of the most compelling parts of the deck because like having your Tithe be cool. Like, Tithe is a sick card, and having Tithe being even better is like, ooh, what a little treat. It's just like, I'd rather have that on an asset than ID ability. It feels like, I don't know. Or on Vovo. It has an additional sub, yeah, so that's 1 more credit. And or you give your opponent to decide what the right choice is. Like, it's also it's the worst thing too, because that subroutine is a decision subroutine. I wish it wasn't. I wish it was just a hard end to run, because then your opponent can decide on this board state, is it more important that I get through or not? So if you're assuming your opponent is always making the best decision, it is a much worse ability. Core damage seems so good in like every circumstance, just from like option and tempo limiting effects. It's interesting how downplayed I often see it. This is Carl. I'm curious about that. Feels like I'm missing something. Cool. So I was going to search core damage. So the idea is how limiting is core damage? And it kind of depends on a lot of things. So say the runner has 5 hand size or the runner has 4 hand size. Now there's some specific scenarios where 4 hand size really matters. Like if you're playing lat, core damage is really bad. And so if the meta is like really lat heavy, yeah, core damage can be better. But there's like a couple issues with core damage being a tempo subroutine. Firstly, this is Hakarl. And Hakarl is pretty expensive. When it comes to HB Ice, 5 is a lot. And a lot of times the HB Ice is like you have some busted 2 and 3 credit ice, and then you have a bunch of 6 credit ice that's really good. So the idea is like, what do Breaker Suites break Hakarl for, and what do Breaker Suites break Brawn for? And then on that basis alone, does Hakarl find the slot? And the answer is usually no. So that's already an issue, right? Like if this was lower strength but cheaper, would Hakarl see some play? If Hakarl was like closer to the Eli slot? Yes. So already like mathematically, it is so similar to something else you can put in your deck that is better on most board states, so you probably don't play it. Another big thing about this sort of card, and we saw this in the original core set with things like Heimdall, is that like Heimdall was meant to be your beefy ice, right? Like this had 3 subroutines. But functionally on turns that are really mattered, a lot of people would just double click through the Heimdall and take the core damage, right? Which makes this 8 cost ice, which let me tell you is not a great ice. Like a lot of things compare favorably to Heimdall. It makes it similar to what a 3 cost ice would be printed the next year. And so that's telling you something, how much the designers valued core damage or how overtuned Eli is. That's a bit more accurate. But you're also giving this subroutine, which is not necessary to break. So it's up to the runners to break it when and if they want to. So I guess the question is, how bad is playing on 1 fewer hand size? And it's not honestly that bad. It is worth noting also for like, since the original core set, we used to have this card called Stimhack. The original art looked like this. And this was basically an overclock, except it gave you 9 credits instead of 4. And the trade-off was a core damage. And this card was a constant staple across every deck because having a fewer hand size versus having a burst of 9 credits, this was just worth it. There's just not a lot of hands in Netrunner where 4 cards is that different than 5 cards. It just really isn't. Like how many times do you find yourself in a game holding a card and think like this will be better for later? Every hand has a worse card. And so going down to 4 hand size doesn't mean you lose your best card. It means you lost your 5th best card in your hand. And I think if you look at it that way, it doesn't seem very powerful, does it? I think there are certain decks more than others, like some combo decks that are holding pieces in hand. It feels a bit more impactful. But at the end of the day, like core damage is just not that frightening. I don't think you need to get hand size. Playing on 4 hand size versus 5 hand size is not a huge difference. Core 1 is kind of whatever, but once you hit 2 or 3, the game changes. Yeah, admittedly, like that's the thing. It doesn't scale super linearly. Throwing out your 5th worst card is fine. Throwing out your 4th and 5th card, okay, gets harder. Holding 2 cards in your hand, it means you kind of have to play whatever you draw. But still, I do think also people overvalued core damage, the same sort of like fallacies where people overvaluate throwing out your worst card, because you can just throw out your worst card in hand. Nobody ever plays every single card in their deck. So discard, overdraw. It's totally fine. Yeah, so what cards get held into hand? Like that's the question. Like we're not really in a meta where people are holding networkings and that's taking up hand spot. We're not in a meta where people are holding like Mad Dash and that is like holding up a hand slot. These are the sort of cards that hold in your hand. I think Deep Dive is like a really interesting one because this will stay in your hand, and you'll notice we core damage Deep Dives not inconsistently because it's a card that stays in hand. It's interesting too, because like core damage also is a cost, and you'll see a lot of criminal decks will struggle to play Wake Implant because they don't want to take a meat damage. Now that's self-inflicted, but like criminals are pretty hard hit by any damage. It doesn't matter if it's core or not, on the basis that like they have a lot of one-ofs and they have a lot of cards that are holding in their hand for specific instances, things like Inside Job or Boomerang, sometimes Diversion for a turn where it matters. So that sometimes is a bit different, but it's just really tricky. I guess, yeah, it's like trashing from stack. It's like not drawing the card. Well, yeah, you lose the card, but like you do generally lose a card and that's worth something, but it's, I don't think it's a big detriment. If you ask me, like if I had a subroutine that I could click through or not click through, there's a bunch of times where I won't click through the core damage subroutine because my click is better than having +1 hand size. It's a very common thing to happen. It's like sometimes you will not click through the core damage subroutine. Like the Heimdall 1 situation happened a heck of a lot. If you ask me for a tag, will I click through a tag or will I click through a core damage? I'm more likely to click through a tag. And that's because I have to clear the tag. The tag is a click and 2 credits. And sometimes it's actually more expensive than having 1 less hand size. Very strange. Ichi 1. Yeah, Ichi 1 had a very interesting subroutine. Where like this subroutine, do 1 core damage, give the runner a tag. Like you'd let that fire sometimes. Yeah, obviously you can trace through it, but even if it went through, like these are the subroutines that mattered. Right? Like imagine Hakarl didn't say do a core damage. It said trash a program. Do you think it would be more or less powerful? I think it would be much more powerful, and that's because it would be more playable in more decks. A single core damage in a deck that doesn't care about core damage is not worth 5 credits for an ice that's broken for. And merely the numbers on it are not terrible. It's just so close to Brawn. Brawn's best busted. A tag could be anything, even a core damage. Yeah, exactly. Core damage managed for kill decks makes the runner more vulnerable to snare, reaper, etc. Yeah, sort of. And we ran into like JNet Grinder today, which is the case. But even for that to matter, like the breakpoint is usually 2 core damage. Because on 2 core damage, you're weak to end of the line. But otherwise, it's up to you to keep your hand size up. So it can matter. I just can't think of a deck that plays core damage and attaches a win condition besides like the Thule decks, which are setting up like very, very specific where they're going to like force 2 core damage and then end the line you. But this is like the one outlier. I don't remember another core damage kill deck in a long, long time. I remember Overmind decks using a console making MU is count in your grip card. Yeah, what was the name of that card? It was an Anar console back in the lunar cycle that said your hand size was equal to your MU. Can't think of the name off the top of my head. Echo Mind, thank you. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, there's some really interesting cards. This is something I kind of miss, like these sort of weird build around cards that don't actually do that much. But like, I don't think NSG does a great job printing cards like this. Like your memory limit is equal to the number of cards in your grip. I believe this was a card that existed in original Netrunner, so it's a reprint. But there's just like some really goofy cards. Like Origami is another one. This card is not super intuitive. Your maximum hand size is increased by 1 for each copy of Origami installed. So you think if you install 3 Origami, you'd have +3 hand size. No, you have +9 hand size because each Origami references all of the Origamis. So that's kind of cool. But I really miss these sort of cards that on their own don't do anything. But like people see this and be like, oh, I can build a deck around this. The same way that like Overmind is another card that people will go out of their way and build decks around. I think a lot of players' first decks back in the time that I was in the game were Overmind decks because it's a really cool idea. What's the payoff for hand size though? I don't know. I think the payoff was like game day. If you have fewer cards in your grip as a double, drop to your hand size. So this can be draw a lot. We have Savernia stim implants. Like it's up to you to figure out what the reason for hand size is. We had Faust. We have a lot of weird stuff. Theophilus Bagbiter is my favorite oddball build around. Yeah, that was a really good one too. I remember playing a bunch of decks with Theophilus Bagbiter, but I wish we had more of these cards. In All Signal Games Land. We don't have too many weird things that are worth building around like this. Yeah, Beach Party was the double hand size one, right? Might get some stuff going on with Bookmark. Could be. I think it's harder to print those kinds of cards when you have a small print runs per year. Yeah, I agree totally, Kat. That's the issue. Is like a lot of the cards, especially like looking at Elevation, it's going to be a fundamental set. It's meant to be like core set part 2. So I don't expect like wacky effects like this. And this is the sort of thing that can be when, you know, they print 240 cards a year as opposed to like a bit more staples cards where it's like, oh, this set, here's Essa. So here's all the sabotage cards. Like sometimes these cards just don't exist. Vention was a reason for hand size. Yeah, but you still die. Like, there's reasons hand size are good. The thing is like in the modern meta and almost literally every single competitive meta, hand size has not been worth pursuing. Play Bagbiter in Eternal. I wonder how you do it busted in Eternal. The way they used to do this back in the days, you used to play Caddy Jones and get a lot of money on Caddy Jones. And then before you pop Caddy Jones, you drop Theophilus Bagbiter and then you have maximum hand size. Because when you play Theophilus, he eats all your credits. Yeah. And so then you just like do Caddy for 15 and then you like game day draw 15. Or you can also play Bug Out Bag. This is the sort of card too, the closest thing we have to the modern meta to like weird stuff, where this is another card. If you have no cards in your grip at the end of your turn, draw X cards. Technically you can draw like 15 cards. The problem is you don't have 15 hand size. Hand size mattered an awful lot for CI combo decks. No, not really, because they played brain rewiring. If you mean Corpsa, yeah, but like a lot of the CI combo decks would just either score or kill you out of nowhere. This doesn't care about your hand size. Savernius gets border controlled? Yeah, hush harder. Bagbiter Fear the Massive Steve is sort of a deck and mills the entire deck in like one turn once it gets to the setup at least. Oh, super cool. It was a corpse side joke. Oh, sorry, Eric. I absolutely shat on your joke. I was like, well, actually. Yeah, it's okay. Tone is hard online. Wasn't the Origami Beach Party diaper deck? I don't think I remember an actual diaper deck that played Origami because I don't think it was necessary, but we can check. Card used Origami. Warlock's biggest runner. Yeah, okay. That just has every card. It looks like, yeah, Sandwich Diaper. For those who don't know, Diaper was a combo deck. This one's on Origami. I don't think I remember a lot of... I saw on Upia, which is kind of fun. Very cool. Chat, be real. I should play Rewiring CI for ESL. I'm surprised people aren't. Actually, no, people are. I think people are. I think Tron is, right? Tron's version is really, really cool. Origami Beach Party is a weird draw engine more than a combo engine. Yeah. This is like with Cabanessa Wu. This is the biggest issue. Is like Cabanessa Wu is one of the big reasons why Netrunner, it became nearly impossible to print cards like this. Anytime that you saw a card like this, which was just like some weird utility card that on its own did nothing, and then if you like collected the whole set, something incredible happened, you just couldn't print it because Cabanessa Wu existed. And Cabanessa Wu got banned, I want to say like 2, maybe 3 years ago. And her ability says search your stack for a non-virus program and install it, lowering its install cost by 1, then shuffle your stack. If that program is still installed when your turn ends, remove it from the game. And so the idea is that you hit this button, but you didn't grab the origami. You would grab something like a self-modifying code and then use the self-modifying code to grab the origami. Or you would grab the origami and then you would use a flicker effect to trash it and reinstall it. You do something to basically make it a different copy of origami. But anytime that you saw a card like that, like Cabanessa Wu would do something disgusting with it until we eventually banned Cabanessa Wu. This card, I believe, was banned at some point. No, it was just restricted for a moment. But this was another card that would be like, okay, Cabanessa can get all 3 of these out on turn 1 if she really wants to, and then the game gets kind of messed up. Hey, Dapper, we just played my first game with System Gateway with my partner. Yo, how'd it go? Did you play the pre-constructed 34 versus 30? Man, System Gateway is so good. Like, genuinely, System Gateway is just so fun. Even as a player who plays like standard, eternal, whatever, System Gateway slaps. Just really good fun. The weird thing is that Wu never actually did anything too oppressive that didn't involve cards that got banned anyways. Yeah, it's like, it seemed like FFG was hesitant to ban Wu, so there was a lot of cards that got banned around Wu, right? Like Surfer to some extent, kind of banned. Origami, like things got restricted more commonly so that you couldn't do everything. So wild to me that she could built-in tutor while also at a discount. The thing is, like, the discount didn't exactly matter because you'd have to like pull the SMC, and so that doesn't matter too much. But you could grab the card and like rejig it, or what was the exile card called? Scavenge it. You could do things. We did. She was a little confused on some of the stuff, but it was a close game. Barely won. Nice. I'm not sure what sides y'all played, but obviously you got to trade sides. It's really fun to say to see the other side once you've seen it, you know, attack you. Because she doesn't keep the card for tutors unless she combos with a rejig. Yeah, so the credit doesn't really matter that much. I mean, Wu is unreprintable now because of Coalescence. Yeah, 100%. Coalescence can't exist with Cabanessa Wu. Notably, like, this is actually a big thing that showed up, and we're seeing some remnants of some of the problems in the wake. Search your stack for a non-virus program and install it. So non-virus is really good because if it was a non-virus back in the day, you could just grab your what are they called? Parasites, right? Like, we could grab these, and these were just ice that could very quickly destroy ice. Like, you would host them, they're Trojans technically, and they destroy ice. But more importantly, the proto-coalescence to some extent was cash. And when cash came in, it was just basically a click for 3 credit button. And then you could do something with it, like, I don't know. Not sure, but you could do that turn. But since cash got reprinted as Coalescence, and Coalescence is not a virus, you see all these weird remnants of cards that were gated by having the non-virus clause on them. And a big part of the non-virus clause was actually cash. Removed an installed program from the game, search your stack for a non-virus program. It seems like the designers didn't want you to be pulling out caches with this because it would just be a click for 3 credit button that thins your deck. And everyone's like, that's not healthy. And you can do this with Rosetta 2.0 and Coalescence. So basically, anytime a card says non-virus, you basically should go back through the card pool and see if you can break it with Coalescence, because usually you can. Cash is the original sin, yes, but actually, like, I do think with Cipher, you actually had to watch out for parasite spam as well. London Library, you technically can go infinite. Brahmin would love Coalescence. Oh my god, Brahmin would love Coalescence. And Urban Art Vernissage, I'm not sure why the Trojan trade is there, so you can move on Botulists, I think. This does see some niche play in some formats, I think. Trash all programs hosted on London Library when your turn ends. Click install a non-virus. Click add a program on London Library to your grip. So you can just like get Coalescence infinitely, if I'm not mistaken. And then this one is really cool. This is a breaker that's fascinating. Whenever an encounter ends with this AI breaker, which is really good, it breaks 1 for 2 subroutine, 2 for 1 strength isn't fantastic, but it comes in at 3. That's really generous for an AI breaker. This text is actually very similar to the text on the polar bear. Whenever an encounter ends, if you use this program to break a subroutine during that encounter, add an installed non-virus program to the top of your stack. And that clause is so important, so you can't just like break something, put your cash on top of your stack, and then either redraw it or, heaven forbid, prognostic Q loop it. This would be so cool with Coalescence. You play Brahmin, you play Coalescence, and you play prognostic Q loop. But you can't do this in Eternal. I think you can, because Coalescence is not a virus. But there was a whole couple cards that very clearly said non-virus, and Coalescence breaks that. Weed Smoker Haley plays London Library. Sick. Coalescence. Windfall synergy with Orca. It doesn't work. Windfall has the cursed sentence, shuffle your deck. The first sentence is shuffle your stack. It does not matter if you know the top of your stack. You're still going random. And Windfall says gain the install cost. It doesn't say play cost. I have no idea to date if that was intentional or not. Maybe it is, but it's only install cost. Yeah. Yeah, you think you have a strategy. People did play Windfall decks where they got through their whole deck and then they made sure that their deck was only Monolith and then it Windfalled it. This was not a good deck. It was just a fun thing to do. Yeah, Alex, Brahmin Coalescence is a cool throwback deck. Yeah, that's really, really cool. I wonder how good it is in throwback. It might be worth something. It doesn't say printed, so does DZ kill you? No, it's printed. DZ only cares when you install the card. It doesn't actually impact the cost of cards in your hand or your deck. All hail Monolith. Yeah, very big. The number of, like, honestly, if you ask me, doesn't fit in that box. They had to figure out something. This is the most expensive card of all time. It's not very good. It's cool though. It's pretty cool. Even if you get this all to fire, like I don't even think that's good. There's like this thing in ONR that the consoles were very expensive and not very good. And so like this was the original Shaper console. It's not very good. 2 credits a turn sounds good. It's not. It costs 9. 2 Link is like not even that good. 2 Link is actually okay, a bit better in the core set than I think it is. All that for 3 MU. It gives you an ability to dodge core damage though. So like that's kind of something, I guess. But yeah, it is 3 MU. It is really, really fun though. Rip Astrolabe, best Shaper console. It was the only Shaper console for a long time. I played Toolbox and Draft, paired it with 5x Cyber Feeders. It feels like modernly Cyber Feeder was slept on. Like it's kind of wild that we had a card that was basically not exactly Rizeki, but functionally Rizeki that just gave you a credit a turn in a slower format, and nobody liked this. Also, little Netrunner trivia. This is the revised core set, and you can tell because it's looking left. The original core set's looking right. They changed the card angle. No idea why. They didn't explain why, but this card just had the same art flipped. We've never seen that before. I zoomed in slightly as well. A fair bit zoomed in. Very cool. Cyberfeeder Spinal Modem? Yeah, Spinal Modem, Tyler. It's also a card that nobody saw play because traces happened. But like this was 2 recurring credits a turn for 4 credits. Whenever there's a successful trace during a run, suffer core damage. Like that doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. This is such a sick card. Play it modernly if you can. There's no traces, right? There's a significant difference between recurring and real though. You can't bank recurring credits. No, and that's also a big thing with like Mystic. It's like if you don't use it, it's still there next turn. But like it's pretty easy to run every turn in older formats, I think. But you're totally right. Like recurring credits are not real credits. I didn't like her facing that way. Look the other way. Ash, I think Ash yells like look forward or something. The problem with Spinal Modem is Turntable existed. No, but this came out in 2017. Oh, this came out in 2012. Yeah, that's more like it. This came out in 2012. Turntable came out in like 3 years later. Like Anarch was kind of shit, but this came out in 2015. Like we had 3 years of Spinal Modem. I can't believe this was reprinted in the revised core set. That is so cool. Spinal Modem, no, it's not OG core. It's the first cycle, the first actual pack. OG core was Grimoire. For sure you can run every turn, but Rizeki's real strength was the sit and wait. Yeah, 100%. Mind you, Cyberfeed also lets you install cards, which is nice. So you played this like sometimes in noise. It was really good. If you're playing revised core, CTM is said. Yep. Yeah, that's not good for you. Spinal Modem is cursed by too much non-icebreaker tools. David, Sharpshooter, Deus Ex. Yeah, but then like, don't play those, right? Like it's up to you to not play those. I don't know. I think in this format where you actually play like Corroder and that sort of stuff, like this is 2 credits. It goes pretty far. You're playing Corroder, you're playing Yogg, and that doesn't matter. But you're playing Mimic. Like you actually did break stuff. Use them. You used your icebreakers. 2012. You loved your icebreakers. How expensive was FFG Netrunner to buy everything? What was the subscription fee? Looking like a lot of cool cards. It's I don't know if it's that different. So core sets, I know I'm Canadian. So the way that it worked, a core set was its own price. I think it was like $50. And then at the beginning of every cycle, you would generally have a deluxe box. So the deluxe boxes they generally focused on 2 factions usually. And they had about, I want to say 80 cards, maybe 55 cards. Okay. And these usually cost around $40, $44. And it was just a bunch of cards. So that was that. And then every month they would put out a set of 20 cards, which were data packs. So every cycle would start with a deluxe box and then have every month we'd get 20 new cards, which is pretty cool because the meta shifted. And each of these cost somewhere between, I want to say 14 and 18 Canadian. So that means a cycle here you can multiply 18 times 6 plus, I can't do that quickly. I'm not gonna pretend I can. 18 times 6 plus 40. So a cycle was $140. For what that's worth, that's not that far off from what NSG charges for a cycle. NSG cycles, though, are slightly fewer cards because this is 120 plus 55. An NSG cycle is like 130 cards. But I'm not complaining about that. But yeah, it's comparable. It's definitely comparable. But the thing to this is that like you were paying every month. So I feels like a lot of people can make that work as opposed to like buying. And I'm not talking about NSG at all, but like, it's not like buying $100 this month. It was like, oh, I can pay $18 this week, this month, $12 this week, whatever it was, somewhere between theirs. And that was like a very like compelling model. And you were constantly going to the game store because there's always something there for you. It was cool. What set is CI becomes good at? What set is that CI becomes good at? CI becomes good around opening moves, I believe, because we had accelerated diagnostics in creation control, and then opening moves brought Jackson Howard, and then you had shutdown, I think in the next pack. I'm not sure. Maybe you already had it. But you had to had emergency shutdown, which was not emergency shutdown. What's the one I'm thinking about? Accelerated diagnostics and power shutdown. Malatempora. So that was a bit later on in that cycle. Once this card came out, CI like popped the F off. We need all the clearances for CI to be good. Yeah, we got green and blue by now, I think. But power shutdown was a really big discovery with Spin Doctor. If you're on Aku, there's a way more in between tournaments than full set tournaments. Yes, yeah, that's a really big thing too. And like, this is one of the biggest difference between NSG and FFG is, again, sets came out every month. So the meta that you went to a regional last month and the meta next month was different. And then we had ban lists and stuff like that. But it wasn't like major tournaments where when the set ended, it would be like, oh, we're playing a tournament at Malatempora. So that meta only existed for a month, which is such a cool thing, because if something was toxic or something was like annoying or painful, it changed. And again, NSG does a good job with balance changes every, pretty consistently. So like, that's not a complaint, but this is like just such a weird and interesting model for a competitive card game. Like people complain about Magic that they get like a set every month, it seems. And like, this was not that different, but it only cost you $18 to get everything, give or take. Feels nostalgic when we played an Octagon game apps before JNet. Yeah, you played an Octagon? I played a heck of a lot in Octagon back in the day. Black level? Gotta wait for, what is it? Terminal, I think? That doesn't do what we wanted to do. Anywho, that's a bit of a history lesson, I guess. Yeah, you got a full play set of every card, that's for sure. So it was like you think. So it was 20 cards, but it was 60 cards. It was 20, you got 3 of each thing. And if doing partial legality would be interesting. Oh, weird. That would be really weird. I think people wouldn't like that if they bought a product and they were like, you can't play with this part of it. That'd be very strange. I don't know. I don't think it's NSG's best interest to have smaller packs. It's just like, it sucks for distribution. And their store is probably not great. Like this is a lot of work, but like FFG was also shipping a lot of stuff to a lot of stores all the time. So this is more manageable. Modernly, like the thing that they have that's closest to a monthly release outside of like Star Wars Unlimited, which I don't know anything about, is Marvel, which they do 2 packs every 2 months, but the packs come in the same month. So it's like 2 products, wait, 2 products. And so then it's easier to get in stores, I think. Anywho. Oh, all right, it's late. I promised Maddie. Hold on. Thanks so much for hanging out. Shout out to all these names here and more. Metropole Grid, we're supported on Patreon. That helps us give the time to do all the video stuff around here. I got a C-stand coming in. We're going to clamp the camera over there. We're going to get some tabletop stuff up real quite soon. But otherwise, I'm going to do some recording for some JNet gameplay up on the channel. It feels like it's been a month, and it largely has. Thanks to all these names here and more that help support the channel. If you want to leave a like on the video, that helps a heck of a lot. I promise you it does. If you want to support the channel on Patreon, you can find a link just in the description. Any amount of support is incredibly appreciated. I shouted it out already on the channel. I spun up a little sister channel to this channel called Crash Space Grid. I'll change the other VOD stream so its name isn't up there. Just so that like if it's a Sunday and we're gonna stream, we'll just stream whatever. We'll do like small side stuff that are very low pressure, very low production value, which I think is gonna be fun. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Thank you, Jai. This weekend, tune in on Sunday, mind you. We have up the Eternal Super League. Links to that in the chat. That starts at 2 p.m. Eastern. That's going to be a lot of fun. Going to be joined by a couple nice folks. I think it's Cobra Bubbles, Warlock, and I shouldn't have started this list without knowing the whole schedule. There's definitely somebody else who's very, very good too. But we'll be going over some Eternal and trying to make it as accessible as possible. Otherwise, I think in the near future, we're going to be finding out more from No Signal Games, maybe tomorrow, maybe next week when it comes to some upcoming tournament announcements. I think we're waiting for where Worlds is. I think we're waiting for where, what are they called? Mega Cities are. I just got the email that the district championship kit is in the mail, which is sick. So we'll get you some updates if you want to come out to Montreal and play some games. Link to Crash Space, please. Yeah, I think I have it here. No, that copy pasted the word non-virus. Oh, I get to read the Fantasy Flight Games article. This is sick. I'm looking forward to doing the thumbnail tonight. Hold on, it's just this. It's just at Crash Space Grid. Worlds is Dublin is known. I can't spread the information like that on this channel. This is a news source, supposedly. Have a good night, y'all. Hopefully you have a good weekend, and we'll see you back on Tuesday. Leave. Ciao.